Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Moran and I'm here with John Tortorelli, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 421. In this episode, we are going to be giving our Week 8 NFL predictions and talking about NBA opening night. We got a doubleheader. We got the Knicks and the Celtics, and we got the Lakers and the Timberwolves. A lot of things to talk about, fellas. How we doing? And Riv, once again, is not here because ref classes. That's why. So John is filling in.
Episode, right?
Yeah.
So he's out till 24th?
Yes, next episode he should be back.
John, you look very dapper.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're looking mad daddy-ish.
I like your shirt.
Thanks.
She said.
Shout out.
I know that a fan got us that shirt.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brennan. Real legend. That being said, shout out to those let me not curse so early on. Shout out
Call
to the
John
Lakers.
daddy. You can't say the F word.
You can say daddy. You don't get restrictions for daddy. You say fuck, you get restrictions.
Oh, screwed either way.
That being said, those fucking Los Angeles Lakers, Lord have mercy. And we didn't even shoot the ball well.
Hell no. 5 for 30.
And those Timberwolves, yo, Julius Randle, you may have not liked the trade yesterday for your Knicks because you guys got blown out, but Julius Randle was the biggest negative on the floor. And Jackson Hayes played, and that brother balled out. If Jackson Hayes is playing better than you, you got to take a hard look in the mirror.
Yeah, Julius Randle was tough. Also, Rob Dillingham, DNP. Did he get a couple minutes and I missed it? He was a DNP, right?
See, here's the thing, man. Once they made the Dante trade,
Rob Dillingham
minutes went out the drain. You know, now he got to earn them, which is valid.
Imagine that. Dalton Connect, pick 17, goes out there and gets burned. Meaningful burn.
I mean, they're way deeper than the Lakers.
And also, Connect is 23 years old. Rob Dillingham's 19.
You're cooking.
So he should be pro ready.
But Dalton looked good yesterday.
Yeah.
Looks solid.
No,
we love those white boys.
If Dante didn't get traded to the Timberwolves, then I believe Dillingham would have had a good 10 to 15 minutes right off the bat, day one. But with Dante, that's 25 plus minutes. Reed is 25 plus minutes. It's not much after that. And you have to play Alexander Walker. You can't not play him. And then Ingles gets like the 6 minutes and whatever. But we can start off with NBA opening night. We're going to have a quick word from Prize Picks that will be inserted here. NBA opening night thoughts. Let's talk about it. Lakers, Timberwolves. Lakers look good. Organized offense. I feel like there's a lot of positive signs. And the Timberwolves, it's a team that's brand new. You know, you still got to give it time to mesh, but it didn't look good.
Yeah, the offense coming in for me was always a concern. Spacing was a concern. Anthony Edwards was not, and Lord have mercy, he balled out, did whatever he wanted, truthfully, when the ball was in his hands, whether it was off-balance shots, set shots. He was pretty amazing. Anthony Davis, though, stole the show. Unbelievable performance out of him, both on the offensive and defensive side. And it started off shaky, but then when that second quarter, late second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, he took that game over 100%. My dark horse MVP, he keeps playing like this. Watch out. We're talking about one of the best bigs in the league, and I can't say he's better than Jokic because every time, dude, the lights keep changing on their own. It's bugging me out. That being said, every time he matches up against Jokic, it's food. Jokic kills him. But when he matches up against any other center, particularly Rudy Gobert, he dominates him, averages 35 points a game on the four-time DPOI. Hopefully this season, Anthony Davis gets the love and the credit that he deserves on the defensive side of the ball, because last night on the defensive side, there was nothing that the opposing team could do in terms of getting downhill, because when you were trying to get to the bucket, Anthony Davis was right there waiting for you.
Right. I think offensively, JJ is going to get AD way more involved and engaged early in games. I felt like last year, part of his inconsistent play on the offensive end, this is dated back to the moment the Lakers got him, was that in the half-court setting, they're not really involving him through actions consistently. And I think as this year goes on, you're going to have someone who schematically is able to open the game up for him, then also the shooters as well, like Connect. And also D'Lo, who I think can play a lot better as this year goes on. So I think
he was mid yesterday.
I know he was. I mean, I'm not surprised, but I think for JJ Redick to come...
What the hell is that about?
I mean, D'Lo is not a player who, I'm very high on.
Last year, he was amazing.
But you're not surprised if he has a bad shooting night.
I'm never surprised by an off night by D'Lo. But
he broke the three-point record for the Lakers last year.
Nice. I think getting a much better coach is just going to do wonders for the supporting cast, because last year you got so many games played out of LeBron, AD, and you got the absolute best performance from them. I can't expect that from LeBron this year, but I think for the rest of the supporting cast, they're only going to get better with some of the small changes they made around the edges.
Yeah, I thought Rory was fantastic last night. You know, outside of AD, he was probably the Lakers' second best player. Bit scary. The Lakers shot 5 for 30. LeBron basically didn't do anything. He coasted, had 16 points, and they won. I think the Timberwolves, of course, it's easy to rag on Julius Randle. This guy's coming off a major injury, hasn't played basketball in 6-8 months, however long it's been at this point. So I think it's going to take some time. Number one, just as a basketball fit, it always felt like it's going to take some time. On top of that, he's coming back from injury, right? So I wasn't expecting Julius Randle to come in right away and, perform at all NBA level. But I do think it is concerning that, defensively wasn't as engaged as you would like him to be. I think that's, could be an issue from Julius from time to time. The shot selection, again, Julius takes and he makes a lot of tough shots. But again, in this game, he was doing that yet again. So I think some of the concerns you had about Julius did show up in this game, but you also know there's going to be nights where he gives you 25, 10 and 5, because that's the type of player Julius has been over these last few years, especially since he's gotten to New York. But yeah, the Lakers, Anthony Davis, MVP type performance. Rui was fantastic. LeBron and Bronny, that moment was dope, seeing them, get some minutes together. Then Dalton Connect, the preseason minutes. Of course, we were expecting him to contribute because you mentioned he's an older rookie, 23 years old. But the fact that day one he went out there, was able to contribute, give some meaningful minutes off the bench was really important. I think John hit it right on the head. JJ Redick was not going to let Anthony Davis not get involved, especially when LeBron was off the court. When LeBron was off the court, every action, Anthony Davis is involved. It's simple. It makes a lot of sense, but we saw last year there was times where it was just AD on the court without LeBron, and AD was not involved in the action. So I thought you saw JJ's Redick and his impact really quick in this game.
Yeah, this isn't the Timberwolves team I think we're going to get this season. They came out and they played flat, no energy. They got out-rebounded. They got out-hustled. They didn't defend well. That's not what this Minnesota team is going to be.
Did kill him on the O-glass.
I think Minnesota's going to play hard night to night, but the offense might be a lot of Anthony Edwards just going one-on-one. That's their best offensive formula right now. They don't have anybody that can consistently attack the defense from the perimeter. Julius Randle offers more of that than Karl-Anthony Towns. You do lose some outside shooting with him, and now you kind of force Anthony Edwards into more of a role of playing off ball. I feel like there was a multitude of possessions where he just wasn't touching it. Multiple possessions down the court, he wasn't getting involved on offense. Everybody else was trying to initiate, and the offense went nowhere when that happened. People were ragging on his playmaking. I thought his playmaking was pretty good. I thought he had a lot of potential assists. Those shots just didn't go down. He had
1 assist, right? Was that what it was?
He had 3 total. Yeah,
at the end of the game, he picked up a few.
There was a joke that he had 0 though. People try to Photoshop it. So I think he'll be fine. The offense, we have to see how it gets ironed out. I feel like that's why I appreciate the Dallas Mavericks so much, because Kyrie Irving takes so much pressure off of Luka Doncic in initiating. And that's the type of backcourt partner that you need to get consistent offense, because as high as I am on Julius Randle, the fit is just odd. Anthony Edwards and him, the fit it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's going to be a lot of staggering minutes to get them to have a good offense. But when they're on the court together, who has the ball? Julius Randle sometimes tends to call his own number, and he plays hero ball. Yeah. And Anthony Edwards, you can't go multiple possessions without him having the ball.
But I think we all know it's going to take some time for those two to synergize, because you have to organize an offense around Julius' strengths. And the same goes for Ant-Man, and I think there's going to be times where they need to be staggered. But what you mentioned before with the T-Wolves not necessarily having an established high-end perimeter creator, that's going to come by committee. You have 2 6-man of the year candidates with Dante DiVincenzo, who last year as a number 3 in that Knicks offense, stepping up, was pretty awesome as a shooter and even a shot creator on the second sides of plays. And then Naz Reid with more opportunity and maybe a little bit more minutes as well. Now that you're swapping out Cat for Julius Randle, he can only be more productive as well. So those two guys, along with the combination of Julius and Jaden McDaniels, they're all going to have to contribute to getting you that extra perimeter creation. And I think they will get it, just because of the fact that Cat was playing out of position, but now you have a more established and confined supporting cast to really elevate Ant-Man.
And Rudy also got a contract extension before tip-off. That was interesting because, I'm not shocked that they extended him. This is their MO, their identity is defense now, right? It's being the best defense in basketball. That's how they're going to win games. But when they made the Julius trade, it was like, they're going to have freedom and financial flexibility down the road. So this doesn't take everything off the table. You know what I mean? It wasn't like some $50 million max contract. He's getting 30-something a year, 33 a year,
3
something
for
like
105. Was that what it was?
Yeah, it was around like the mid-30s. But I was just a bit surprised because it doesn't, give you the complete freedom that we thought maybe they were looking for down the line. But of course, Rudy's a focal point of this team and one of the biggest parts of this core.
Considering he took a pay cut.
He did.
Right? That's kind of shocking to me.
It's kind of trade bait.
He declined
in the future.
He basically he could have got like 40 or 50 million on the player option. He declined. You get more years, more money.
Okay.
So pay cut annually, but more
it's
money
not
overall.
That bad when you think about it because you don't want to just lose Rudy Gobert.
No.
So if you can get some
Especially
assets
trading
for
cap.
him,
Can
if you
I also
trade
be
him, it's
transparent? I know AD was very effective yesterday. I thought Gobert played a good game. Trying to hold Anthony Davis is obviously a difficult task, and I know AD has had his number. But as a lob threat, I thought he was pretty great. His touch around the basket was pretty solid as well. But really on the defensive side, early on, he definitely held AD to a certain degree, and then AD just got hot. It was that simple. And when AD gets into that mode,
1-foot jumpers and shit. Yeah.
And his aggressiveness on the offensive glass too was very critical for us to ultimately win the game. But a win like this, where very on the offensive side, I guess we can call it clean because obviously we had pretty efficient shots and we got good looks. But 5 for 30, D'Angelo Russell shot poorly. Austin Reeves shot poorly. LeBron James really wasn't overly a part of the offense as opposed to, of course, Anthony Davis or even Rui Hachimura for that matter of fact. And you mentioned it. Rui Hachimura got us to that hot start. And in that first quarter, we really didn't look back after that in that second quarter as well. Minnesota scares me because I look at their lack of offensive creation, and it was a big concern for me in this preseason. And after yesterday, I know we're a good defensive squad. And I know Anthony Edwards is going to go out there every night and he's going to get his. But you talk about Jaden McDaniels. You talk about...
He's your fifth creator.
Is he a creator? Not really.
No.
Dante DiVincenzo talked about, even if it was a false rumor, let's just talk about him wanted an increased role. Here's your opportunity to be another creator on the Minnesota Timberwolves because, like he mentioned, you're taking minutes from Dillingham. Mm-hmm. The guy that we traded 2 future first-round picks, probably one regardless.
And a little bit.
And you said, let's go and take this kid and have him be our future point guard. You have Dante on your squad now. He takes away his minutes. Let's see what Dante can do in the ball in his hands, especially if Julius is going to have situations like these where they're going to struggle. So it's going to be 100% interesting to watch how the season goes on and how to decide to utilize Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards together, whether they do run pick and roll, whether they do try and manipulate different types of schemes with the two of them on the field, on the court. And then also, how is Dante going to look in this offense? Is he just going to be another spot up guy like you have Jaden McDaniels already? Or are we actually going to let him have the ball in his hand and see what he can do?
Yeah, I think the story of this game was just JJ Redick's debut. I think he was really good. I mean, the Lakers' offense is organized, and there's multiple actions within every offensive possession.
Thank God.
Shots just weren't going in, but that team was playing hard.
Beggars can't be choosers. There was one play down the stretch of the game where AD didn't touch the ball, and I said, how do you go possession? And I thought about it. I'm like, relax. He's touched the ball like 9 times in a row. I thought you're 100% right. He was excellent yesterday in his debut.
Yeah, it was definitely an encouraging sign for what's to come, and he complained about the balls not being broken in.
That was a fair claim too. In football, you have the balls that the quarterbacks look and inspect and see which ones they want to use.
Balls in the NBA too.
Yeah, but it's a brand new one. It's like you're not using it in shoot around. You're not getting. So that's something that players can come together on both teams and be like, yo, this one's a good ball here. Check it out. Let me know. But I don't know. It's minor, but people are gonna call him out for it. Like, oh, he's already complaining.
Yeah, next year now I know to bet on the home openers now, the home teams, because they got the home spark. The Lakers won.
Well, that was LeBron's first win opening night.
First win on opening night, and AD joked about it too, saying this is the first time LeBron's accomplished something and we won. And it's true. When he fucking broke Kareem. We lost. When he hit 40,000, we lost. It's like we got to do something for him in a Laker uniform.
And the other home opener, the Celtics, they beat the Knicks. It's a pretty convincing win for a team that I think made a statement the first game of the season.
Yeah,
I think the Celtics came out and they just said, we're trying to go back to back.
You had a couple bangers go off yesterday too.
I love the Celtics are back, man. Love Celtics Twitter. Yeah, it was an ass kicking, man. That was a real ass kicking. Jason Tatum, jump shot back. Tried to tell y'all were making jokes in the offseason. It's okay.
He's a regular season guy. I respect it.
Yeah, word. 50 points in a game 7, 30, 11, and 8 to close out the NBA Finals. Anyhow, though, he was fantastic. Everyone was fantastic. I mean, shit, they fucking made like 50% of their threes, and they missed the last like 13 trying to break the record. But yeah, I think you're right, Joel. I think what they've said all offseason, what Joe Mazzulla has said is, we're not defending an NBA championship. We're trying to attack and repeat, So that's kind of been their mantra all season or all off season long was we don't want to be on the defense with this. Like we feel like this is a new season. We have something new to accomplish. They came out of the gate swinging, right? This was basically the Celtics we saw last year. 40 points in the first quarter. It was a blowout by halftime. Then halfway through the fourth quarter, it was mostly the bench guys in. So I think the Knicks are the bigger story here because, of course, Mikal Bridges started off the game was 0 for 5. Second half, he got things going. He finished pretty efficient. But that first half, when it was like actually a close competitive game, jumper looked out of whack. Overall, just didn't look like a great outing from him. OG Anunoby, I know you mentioned it too. Joel did not have a great game. Karl Anthony Towns. Again, this is one of the most new team. Like how do you say it? Like they've had some of the most acquisitions in the NBA this season, right? Like you lose Dante, you lose Julius Randle, you're bringing in some of these new guys. So to go in opening night, ring night in Boston, there's no tougher place to play. So you got to cut them some slack there. Of course, there's 81 games left in the season. But yeah, I do think you worry just because Mikal and OG, these are the J stoppers, right? These are the guys that are supposed to go up against Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and make their life hell. And their first tests, they failed. And then the big you got in Karl Anthony Towns, Celtics were constantly putting him in action. When he was playing drop coverage, they were just able to pull up, and that's what Cat's gonna do, right? When they play potentially in the playoffs, like that's gonna be the schematic, decision that Tibbs is probably gonna go to, and they're gonna be able to take advantage of that. So long season. So I still think the Knicks are one of the 2-3 best teams in the East right now. But to go out in that fashion and get blown out, the 30-point game at one point, it doesn't feel good for Knicks fans who spent this whole offseason basically saying like this is probably the most talented team we've had in our lifetime, right? When in our 20-year-old generation that we all are here right now. So tough night, but I think better days are ahead for the Knicks.
I think what we saw is this Celtic team has the most continuity and cohesion, and it's one of the most established groups we've seen. Whereas the Knicks are trying to rediscover themselves with practically 3 new starters, right? Like you lose guys like Randall have been there for such a long time, but it's also Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby breaking into this new role and adjusting. And I think that's going to take time. It's kind of unrealistic to expect 3 new starters to come in and you're immediately going to hit the ground running in October. It usually takes a couple of months. Like when the Celtics acquired Derek White, it took him a while to find a groove offensively until his second year with the team. So I don't think this game is really a barometer of where the Knicks are. I think we need to give them a few more months, but at the same exact time, there are some concerns that I do think we saw, like Cat defensively. How can you find that rim protection? And then maybe most importantly, the bench after Deuce McBride. You don't look at that group and say, this is a really established squad. You say, there's a lot of question marks that we need to kind of find answers to sooner rather than later. And that was really the one risk of them being so aggressive this offseason.
Now, Joel, let me ask you a question, man. Are you guys transcending basketball?
You saw Jason Tibbs' tweet? Oh, my God. It was funny.
So, go ahead.
Oh, no. He said, I forgot what the quote was. Some guy tweeted at him basically saying, like, this, like, I don't know. Do you remember? I don't remember.
Essentially, you're saying, like, are we okay with this style of basketball being the product that we watch on a nightly basis? Something about the future of just how the Celtics are, and this is what the gold standard is. Are we okay with this brand of basketball being the main representation of the league?
Well, it doesn't matter if we're okay with it. What matters is that style of offense leads to the most wins when you can shoot, when you're efficient from deep, and that's why every team has adopted it. There's no team that's not building or trying to build their entire team around players that can shoot the ball. And regardless of if we like the style or not, that's the best way to win in the NBA.
I know the Celtics aren't, they're one of the most controversial brands in basketball, but what they're doing is just an extension of the 2014 Spurs and the Golden State Warriors with Steph, Clay, and Draymond. I don't think it's by any means a negative representation of the sport. This is where the sport's heading. It's far and away the most aesthetically pleasing, product of basketball, I think it's only a good thing.
Yeah, so this one guy tweeted, we can't let this Celtic style offense be the future of the NBA. Jason Tim quoted and say, this is no way a shot at Boston because number one, competitors should take every advantage they can. And number two, Boston is many levels better at this than the other teams in the NBA. But yeah, the NBA is entering into dangerous territory with this as a television product. I think the Celtics play pretty beautiful basketball, right? Like it's like obviously, people have their opinions on like Luka and prime James Harden, how they played very isocentric, pull up three step backs
for the game, for the younger generation.
Yeah, I think that argument I could see, but like the Celtics play team basketball, they're constantly moving, without the ball. There's constantly actions going on, screens. Like it's not like it's just one dude taking 40 shots, contested threes. Like they're constantly generating open shots. This is just the best form of basketball, or at least leads to the most points.
Right. It's just a lot of dribble penetration.
I was going to say, all it is. And what also loses me there is everyone was so infatuated when it first broke out. When you go back to the Magic,
people were mad.
No, agree. Yeah. But when you have like the Magic, that's like the OG space to floor. You have all shooters on the floor at all times. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, you got
now you had, of course, Steph Curry come in, and now he's constantly moving around. You guys take it to a whole other level where you have shooters,
passers, and ball handlers.
And everyone on your team can dribble, penetrate, can go ahead and kick, and they can shoot. Everybody on that team can do that outside of course, Horford, whose job is to sit in that corner and just wait for the basketball.
He might get you with a pump fake, though.
He might. The thing with me here is you sound very bitter, and you sound like, I don't want to say, I guess sore loser is the best way to put it. Not a loser. You sound like a sore loser because you can't execute it at the high level that the Boston Celtics are. At a point, you have to sit and acknowledge, like the basketball community has this offseason, outside of Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum definitely has gotten a lot of jokes, a lot of criticism. But people have come together and acknowledged the Boston Celtics are the best team in basketball because there's such a deep squad, but this starting five is so dynamic, so dominant that when you go out there on night one, you tie the all-time record for threes in a game. This is the brand of basketball that we've seen them play for a full season. It's going to carry over into this year. You can't hate on it.
People only hate it because it's not something new.
And it's also the Celtics.
I went to a Celtic game last year versus the Pacers, and Halliburton didn't play. I'm not going to lie. I watched him drop 155 points. It was pretty sick. I enjoyed it. Even as someone's not a huge Celtics guy, you watch that live, and you say to yourself, this is basketball in its purest form.
Yeah, I mean, people, like, the whole Missoula ball thing, when he first came onto the scene, people did not like it. Like, especially Celtics fans, too. Like, I get clips and stuff on Twitter, people just calling to, like, local Boston radio and whatnot. But fans were not a fan of it. Like, they want, that nitty-gritty basketball. They want Tatum driving and Jaylen Brown driving every time. And, of course, there's room for that. And they've showed that, right? They've shown that they're able to change their game depending on opponent, depending on what defense is doing to them. But all of a sudden, the Celtics win a championship. Then the first game, they go out there and tie the record for 3 points. Now, all of a sudden, it's an issue. But, like, 2 years ago, people were saying, Missoula ball's not going to work. You take too many threes, too much variance. And it's a product of results, right? If you go out there and you shoot fucking 10 for 50, you're going to look like a jackass. You go out there and you tie the NBA record for threes. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, you look like, it's unstoppable.
I think the reason why statements like that are so dangerous is because it misrepresents what this basketball era is, and it insinuates that there's no uniqueness to the era. Because you compare it to past eras. For example, the 2009 Magic, in that era, you had their offense revolutionize spacing around the center and playing 4 out around that center. And you also had different offenses in that era. The Lakers triangle offense, you had the Suns 7 seconds or less offense. So you can understand, like, there's more uniqueness, because if you look at the shot charts from now and back then they took much more mid-range jump shots, and now it's just a more efficient brand of basketball. But I don't think just because that's the case, just because we've emphasized spacing, there's still not a uniqueness to how each team plays. Because the Celtics play their own way, but I think the Indiana Pacers play differently than them. I think they're more up-tempo than them.
Correct.
I think you look at the OKC Thunder, they play much more like an old school styled fashion offense where they target the mid-range. SGA and Jalen Williams, that's where they thrive. But they also have surrounded those two stars with shooters around them. So they're also able to have spacing. The Knicks and the Dallas Mavericks, you have heliocentric offenses around Luka Doncic and Jalen Brunson. There is still variance in how teams play, even though the idea and the philosophy around those teams are spacing. It's still different. It's done in a different way. It's not the same.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the beautiful part about where the game's headed.
So can't wait to get Porzingis back.
I'm conflicted about the Knicks. And I'm conflicted because I don't want to take the joy out of watching this season. This is the best team the Knicks have had since I've been alive.
This is the Jets 2.0.
Damn.
It's not quite there because
No, I'm exaggerating. I'm just making a joke.
Yeah, no, I think the Knicks have leadership that we're gonna be a good team. But the moves the Knicks made gave the NBA community and Knicks fans like myself the expectation that they believe we can compete and we can contend for a championship. I know the Celtics had a great night, something that might not be replicable, even though they can shoot amazing from three on any given night. But still, the Knicks and the Celtics are on different stratospheres.
Agreed.
And the Knicks decided to go all in with Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns. And I thought there was room for them to be a little bit more patient. Maybe wait a year or two, and maybe, Giannis wants to leave Milwaukee and maybe circle back on that idea. Because I don't think Kat and Mikal Bridges were the needle movers to move us to a championship contending status. And that's why I'm conflicted. Because I don't want to make this season about comparing ourselves to the Celtics and if we can beat them. Because the answer is no. It's about enjoying this season. But Knicks fans have to realize this. This is not the year that the Knicks are going to contend. It's going to be a year from now or 2 years from now. And it's not going to happen unless we get another creator next to Jalen Brunson. We always knock heliocentric offenses. James Harden got hated on he got beaten to death by fans for playing how he plays. Luka Doncic gets heavily criticized for playing how he plays and for not playing defense. What's the difference with Jalen Brunson? Jalen Brunson is not a good defender, and it's also a heliocentric offense.
Great PR.
If you feel that those teams could not win because of their offensive play style, you have to feel the same way about the Knicks because we are do or die Jalen Brunson. Everything goes through him. And what I saw in that Celtics game, from the first possession, let's bring Kat and Jalen Brunson out here. Let's bring Kat. Drop coverage, shooting right over you. Jason Tatum wide open three. Let's get Jalen Brunson involved in this action. There are two defensive liabilities that teams can pick on. And our offense, outside of Jalen Brunson, nobody can just put the ball on the floor and go get a basket. Cat can do it sometimes, but it's very clunky. It's very clunky. It doesn't look good when he does it. It doesn't. So that's my worry, and that's why I'm conflicted about the Knicks. I felt like maybe there should have been more patience, but this is the timeline. Jalen Brunson is 28 years old. These players are in their primes.
Exactly.
The Knicks' future is still intact. We don't have nothing going for us in the future. We're going to clear our books in a couple of years if this doesn't work out. So the Knicks are going to be fine. This wasn't like the former Knicks regimes, but at the same time, I don't think they were the moves to take us over the top. And that's why I was so conflicted on it in the offseason.
I think you guys were trying to maximize the prime of Jalen Brunson on top of maximize the amazing contract that he has. On top of it, he decided to take an insane pay cut too. I believe that's one of the main reasons why you decided to go all in this offseason. We've spoken about the Mikal deal. Four or five. It's 4 first, but 5 first. But one of them's not going to end up being a pick regardless. But 4 picks for Mikal Bridges.
And a swap. That
one was always the one that was iffy because you're giving up superstar level compensation for
a role player,
a fringe. If I'm being as kind as possible, all-star,
45th best
right?
role
Yeah, like one of the best.
He's a souped-up role player.
Yeah, for sure. He's like the cream of the crop role players.
Yeah.
You traded 4 first-round picks for a cream of the crop role players. We've seen it. When Drew Holiday got traded to the Bucs, he got traded for an insane compensation as well. A super high level role player, obviously all-star. He's like the notch above.
Notch above.
The thing with the Knicks, which is why I can understand the moves made, is because of Brunson. However, you're right on the money because this isn't a team that can contend with those guys right now. There's not a team in the East right now that looks like they can contend with those guys right now. So I respect going all in because the Knicks want to be exciting. They want to be in the mix come the end of June. That being said, I'm not mad about it. I just want to see it play out before I go out there and just immediately say, "Oh, trading Mikal was a mistake. Trading for Cat was a mistake." When you look across to the next game, the guy you traded didn't play well at all. Yeah. So give it time. You can't give up after game one, even though it was an embarrassing loss.
The Knicks are trying to maximize Jalen. You can go first.
I know. This is why I didn't feel great about it. I feel like it really shot our depth. I mean, you look at our bench players. It was Deuce, it was Campaign, it was Pacome Dadiet, our 19-year-old rookie, and it was Jericho Sims. I only think one guy's a real rotational
Deuce played his ass off.
He did. That's a concern for me. I'm not mad at the Knicks making these moves. In fact, I encourage it. It's just about being realistic. And when the Knicks made these moves, what was everybody's first thought? Initially crowned them as the second best team in the East, a team that can genuinely compete with Boston and maybe knock them off. But it was never the case. I don't think that was ever realistic. And we do have to still see this team play. I think the chemistry stuff can be ironed out. One thing you're not going to get out of me is that you're going to sell me on an idea of a 5-out offense. They don't guard Josh Hart. Al Horford was defending Josh Hart, and he was roaming around the paint and being that rim protector on the backside if they get beat on dribble penetrations. Josh Hart, teams are going to say, all right, if he's going to shoot 40% from three today, all right, we're going to live with that. We're not going to guard him. He doesn't get guarded.
The issue with that is, yes, we've had a history of Josh Hart not being able to space consistently. We saw it in the playoffs where he just figured it out and suddenly now became an elite shooter. Of course, I'm using hyperbole.
See, but it's a difference between shooting well and spacing the floor. Mm-hmm. I think Josh Hart shot well. I don't think he spaced the floor. And teams can still sag off of him. And even if the result is him making the shots, that's something that they're going to live with. Like, for example, Dante DiVincenzo is getting attention where they're not moving off from him.
That's why losing.
Josh Hart, you're taking a couple steps off.
So then he becomes the X factor. If he knocks down the three ball, let's say he's taking 5, at most 6 attempts a game, but you're knocking down the three ball at 37, 38% from three. Now they have to at least respect you. I do call him the X factor because, like you mentioned, if they're going to have their big man playing defense on him and roaming and sagging, obviously you become the guy where if Jalen Brunson's driving to the basket, I'm kicking to Josh Hart, you have to hope that he makes that. He's shown that he can in those playoff moments. He's shown that he can, but that's the disconnect for me there is the that he can make them and he's a good spacer. I feel like that's synonyms to a degree.
Just will he get the respect? You know what I mean?
I feel like you have to earn it. And if he goes out there and shoots the 37, 38%, yeah, it's like he did in the playoffs. Yeah. My logic there.
It's like there's dudes who shoot 38% from three. There's dudes who shoot 35% from three. But if Steph Curry's shooting 35% the first 10 games, you're still going out putting your hand. You know what I mean? Of course. So I don't think Josh Hart's ever be that player.
Like Derek White, for example, I think Derek White's a perfect example of this. He shoots well from three. He is the one guy defenses are still willing to sacrifice, leaving him open.
You got to pick. There's poison though. You know what I mean? Like you have to make a decision because if not, you're just gonna play Tatum and Brown 1-on-1 all game. You're gonna get fried.
You sag off on Horford, I guess. Yeah. Like if you're gonna Derek White's a sniper. He's a sniper.
He can get into his cold streaks though.
Yeah.
He gets
Derek White. But
what Boston
has
the day shooting 42%. But what Boston has, what New York doesn't is. Once you start, say you sag off Al Horford, dribble drive, you pass out. Once you get in rotation against Boston, you're done, right? Because you have 4 dudes that can really penetrate with the ball in their hands and make things happen. That's where the Knicks are lacking.
The Knicks can't.
Rim reads. Because like OJ Anunoby cannot make a read at the rim. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday, all kind of sensational level. Now a guy like Josh Hart, if he's being kind of defended by a big like Al Horford, you should be involving him into the action to get that big, then switch on the ball handler Jalen Brunson. But I think with the Knicks, it's really going to take time, but the two biggest X factors, we know who they are because defensively they have a mountain of expectations. For sure. It's OJ Anunoby and Mikal Bridges because you're asking them to be wing stoppers
and make
at
up
the
ground.
Same exact time, they also have to be the one stepping up offensively. Mikal Bridges, many nights, more often than not, will have to be number 2 on the offense side of the ball. And with him changing his jump shot right before the season starts and the way that he finished last year in Brooklyn, I'm not super confident that Mikel's going to be able to still be a high-level offensive scorer and a shot creator and then bring it back what he was defensively in Phoenix. I think that's something where they might be asking him to do a little bit too much. That's Paul George. I'm comfortable with that. Maybe Paul George a few years ago, maybe not now. But right now, I think it's going to be all down to Mikal. I'm not too worried about Cat. I know what he is. I think Mikal Bridges and OG are the two biggest X factors.
And last thing I'll say, the Celtics put Drew Holiday on Cat last night. Like, that was his primary matchup.
An amazing post
and
defender.
we saw that last year, right? Like, there was times Drew Holiday was guarding Embiid and shit. I think more than anything, it was just bait. I think they were just saying, like, listen, Brunson, if you want to give it to Cat and you want to just post up Drew Holiday all game and that's going to be your offense, go ahead and do it. Because, of course, Drew Holiday's a great defender. Cat's got fucking 6 inches on him. So, I mean, he should be able to get, somewhat open looks on him. But if your offense is going to go down to our first read is Cat in the post, and on the other end, we're going to hit 29 threes, we're going to win that game.
And it's not only the offensive part. This is the last thing I'll say. It's they have to make up ground on defense more than ever because they have to make up for Jalen Brunson and Cat's rotations as well. So it's not even like they have one responsibility on defense. They have that and multiple things. And then on offense, they have to be good offensively as well for us. And Mikal especially needs to be our secondary creator on the perimeter. So
more often than not.
It's just, I feel like it just left us with a little bit more question marks, but it's early in the season. NFL predictions for week 8. Thursday Night Football, Vikings versus Rams.
Now, Joel and I were in the car on the way here, and honestly, I feel like a lot of these games, Joel, you said it perfectly.
Game? You think so?
No. I don't. I believe the Vikings will win this game. I am picking Minnesota to win this game regardless, especially after being in such an amazing game versus the Lions. They're still hungry. Obviously, they know they are contending for the top spot in their division. And the Rams still, although getting healthy, trending in that right direction. Puka Nacua is questionable coming in. We do have Cooper Kupp giving it a go. You have some standouts on the defensive side for the Rams, although overall the defense still isn't that great. You look at Minnesota and what they've been able to accomplish, the pressure that they can get on Matthew Stafford too, with the way that defense has been playing, and obviously the blitz rate that they have. They blitz, I believe, second most in the league, only second to the Denver Broncos. You go out there and you get pressure on Matthew Stafford, make him uncomfortable, force him into making quick reads, which he can do, and he's obviously one of the most, if not the smartest quarterback in the pocket. You go ahead and you can trust that the Vikings are going to go ahead and win this game. But what I was going to say was, a lot of these games are pretty easy. A lot of pretty easy decisions for me. This one becomes a little bit more tricky because, of course, you respect the Rams. They can go out there and upset any team in the league. I do firmly believe that. But Minnesota's playing some great football, and I think they're a mismatch.
Yeah, this is, I agree. I'm taking Minnesota in this game. They've shown just throughout the season to be the better team. Of course, having Cooper Kupp back is going to be huge. Puka's questionable, assuming he's going to miss one more week. But this is a big game for the Rams and the rest of their season. If they win this game, right? Because what are we sitting on now with the Rams?
Season's not over.
Yeah, 2-4.
They're 2-4. You win this game, you're 3-4. You're right in the mix of it in the not just the NFC, but the NFC West, because the 49ers aren't looking great. Seahawks lost a few games in a row, right? So they win this game, you're 3-4. You can make a legit push for the playoffs. You lose this game, you're 2-5. Now those calls for Cooper Kupp and maybe Matt Stafford, we'll see if that ends up being anything true. Those start to heat up a bit more because 2-5 is a tougher hole to pull out of. But yeah, I'm taking Minnesota in this game. Lost a heartbreaker against Detroit, but right now they're just better than the Rams. Even getting Cooper Kupp back, they're gonna have to do a lot offensively to be able to keep up. And Minnesota's just better on both sides of the ball. At least obviously defensively a lot better with Kupp and Stafford and Kyron Williams. We know this team could be legit offensively. But Brian Flores is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league right now. You're able to pressure Matt Stafford, make him uncomfortable. Things that get a bit tougher. And of course, that run defense for Minnesota has been fantastic. They've been a bit more susceptible through the air, right? So I think Stafford and Kupp will have solid games, but it's going to get tough to get Kyron going around the goal line. We know how great he is, but to get a consistent run game going, it's going to be difficult. So if you're just teeing off on Matt Stafford, it's going to be easier to get after him. Got the Vikings in this game.
The formula is just to run the ball. That's what the Rams have to do to win this game. You saw how the Lions ran the ball, even down 10-0. That's what they used to open up their offense. The Vikings haven't been tested on the ground like that because they've had big leads over almost anybody they've faced thus far. I'm getting the feeling that the Rams might save their season. I still have a lot of respect for Matthew Stafford. I have a lot of respect for Sean McVay. Their receivers getting Cooper Kupp back gives me a little bit more optimism. I watched the game last week with the Lions, and one of the Vikings touchdowns that they scored, it came off a fake punt that the Lions did on their own side of the field. and that they didn't convert. So it gave the Vikings perfect field position, and that led to a score. But I look at moments that Sam Darnold has had, the interception to Brian Branch when Aaron Jones was wide open on the left side. 3rd and 4, if he completes the pass to Justin Jefferson that was wide open, you win that game. He sailed it over the top. If this is a tight one, this is one of those moments where I'm like, okay, Sam, show me if you can win this game for the Vikings, because I think that's the last thing on the cards for them. But then it just goes back to how much I trust the Rams defense. And I don't trust the Rams defense all that much. I think they've been pretty solid at generating pressure.
I was going to say, rookies been showing out.
Yes, Braden Fisk.
Fisk and Verse, for sure.
Yeah, Jared Verse is running away with Defensive Rookie of the Year right now. So I trust that, but the linebackers suck. The secondary sucks. So I got the Vikings in this one.
I think this game's got upset potential. You got Kevin O'Connell going up against Sean McVay. And the matchup, to me, like you mentioned before, it's going to be Kyron Williams going up against a rush defense. It's allowing the 5th least amount of yards per carry. They're 2nd least in yards allowed. If the Rams can't get going on the ground in this matchup, the entire game opens up for play action. You, of course, have Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell space in the field. But I think another big thing is Sam Darnold the last 2 weeks, and really looking back at that Jet game as well, has not been playing at that same level he was to start the year. If the Rams can rattle him a little bit with that pass rush, now you're looking at the game open up where one single turnover and one strong drive with a good run game could easily get the Rams an upset. This is a must-win for them, but then for the Vikings, the last thing you want after your strong start to the year is losing 2 games in a row. So I've got the Vikings in this matchup. I have a lot more faith in their offense kind of figuring things out in a close game, but I've also got a lot of optimism too that Kevin O'Connell's going to call a great game, Darnold will do more than enough, and then their run game and Aaron Jones will continue to produce as well.
Eagles versus the Bengals.
Mr. Dehls, unfortunately, I'm going to have to defer to you. Now, you were talking pretty spicy about the Eagles.
I wish Rick was here, man.
I do
You got me.
wish Rick
I
was
love
here.
John.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish everyone was here.
I understand your logic behind that. However, you were talking pretty spicy on the Philadelphia
Who's your pick?
Eagles.
Because this is what I'm curious to hear. Because you said the Bengals are better last week.
And you know what's funny? You know what? Go ahead, Mr. Dehls. Go ahead.
This has
Won't
been
say
one.
anything.
This has been one that I've had sleepless nights over. You know what I mean? You know how much I love my Eagles.
circle
Eagles
this on your calendar.
You know how much I love Jalen Hurts, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, one of the best leaders in the NFL.
Cook.
Look on the other side though. Joe Burrow's playing at a different level right now, man.
You know it.
Joe Burrow's playing at a different level. If they were 4-2 instead of 2-4, probably MVP talks. You know that's the type of play that Joe Burrow's been having right now. The run game's starting to get going. The defense, sneakily, slightly smaller, making some improvements these last couple of weeks. With that being said, play the Browns, play the Giants. Not taking too much of it.
Win is win.
But then I sit there and I look, I'm like, am I really gonna take Joe Burrow over Jalen Hurts? You gotta be crazy. Fly, Eagles, fly, man. Let's go, Philly.
This shit cringe. I hate that. I genuinely hate that emote. Whatever that is.
It's an Eagle sound.
I hate it.
What's
Are
your
you going
Eagles
with
sound?
the Eagles?
I am not. I'm going with Cincinnati in this matchup. I think last few weeks for Philadelphia, they've really looked a lot better. Jalen Hurts played a lot better in their most recent win versus the Giants. But what it really comes down to for me, Drew,
You hate Jalen Hurts.
no.
You're a fucking hater.
The Bengals offense is going to score more points with their passing game. I look at just what they can do through the year. I'm expecting Burrow to have another fantastic game. Maybe one of his, if not one of his 2 best, it could be his best game of the year, I think.
Better than the Ravens game?
Maybe that's why I said top 2. You know, one of.
He cooked against
one of, 'cause
Washington also.
He's had some pretty
He's been
fantastic
appalling
games
this year. Hell yeah.
And I just think for Philadelphia too, there's still a lot of questions. I want to see how they're able to consistently win through the year, but at the same exact time, you have Saquon. I think he's gonna have another great game against the Cincinnati defensive line. So this is a bit of a toss-up to me, but I've got more faith in Cincinnati's offense than Philadelphia's.
Okay, what it comes down for me is I do not trust the Cincinnati Bengals defense, and that's the difference between the two teams. I agree. I think Cincinnati's going to go out there and score points like they have every single week, essentially, outside of the Giants game. But they can go out there and they can score in bunches against almost any team in the National Football League. This offense is that explosive. Do I believe that they're going to outscore the Philadelphia Eagles? I don't. I think that you look at the way that Saquon Barkley played last week, could have had his career high in rushing yards if he wanted to. He's been playing at an insane level. And Jalen Hurts, they won't tell you because, of course, this was the Saquon Barkley game, but I thought he had some really great moments. The play that stands out to me more than any other one was that A.J. Brown touchdown. Stands strong in the pocket, pressure goes, the pocket's collapsing. He stays strong, delivers a dot to A.J. Brown over the top for a touchdown. He's always good to give you a unbelievable throw, unbelievable play every single game. And of course, you just are going to go and you're going to discredit it because of whatever reason or whatever agenda you have. He's been playing some pretty solid football after the bye week and going up against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I'm anticipating that to keep rolling. I'm anticipating A.J. Brown, Smitty, and of course the main guy who I think will be the best in the offense, Saquon Barkley, to go out there and win this game.
It's just about the trench play. I think the Eagles are better in the trenches. I think their offensive line is finally healthy. Landon Dickerson, he's been healthy, but Lane Johnson's coming back in this game. Jordan Mailata should be playing. The Bengals still can't generate a pass rush with their four-man rush. They've done a better job against some weaker offensive lines like the Browns and the Giants at doing that. But the Bengals' offense has not looked that good the last 2 weeks versus the Giants or the Browns. Before that, they were rolling. They have kind of hit a little speed bump, and they have to get back to their roots. But the Eagles' defensive line is playing at an elite level. Their defensive line is generating a pass rush at a top 3 rate. And Bryce Huff quietly had his first sack last week. He might be getting back on track. But you have Jordan Davis, you have Bryce Huff, you have Josh Sweat, and I'm forgetting the other defensive lineman. Did I mention Jalen Carter?
I heard Jordan Davis.
Oh, my bad. I meant Jalen Carter, not Jordan Davis, because Jordan Davis is not a good pass rusher. And they have another player on their defensive line.
Sweat.
I'm forgetting how to pronounce his last name. I mentioned Sweat.
Apologize.
He's been probably the second most impactful defensive lineman for them.
You're looking up, Dehls?
It's not Milton Williams. It's somebody that I think last name starts with an O. But their defensive line has been really elite, and the secondary is getting better. They're communicating better on the back end. This is a scheme that it takes time to adjust to. So I have the Eagles in this one. And then on the offensive side of the ball, can the Bengals stop the run? And if they are testing the Eagles receivers one-on-one, can any of their corners hold up against A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith down the field? And Cam Taylor-Britt has not been playing good, and the corners have not been playing good. So I have the Eagles in this one. I think they're a better team.
Moro Ojomo?
Yes. He's been awesome. And I want to give credit to him. Yeah, the defensive line, they have a lot of pieces. So I think this is just about the trenches. You know, if the Bengals had better play there, I think I could pick them. Orlando Brown is on the injury report.
Against your guy. You got him on your fucking your background. You got him right there, brother.
This is a must-win game for Cincinnati.
Wins are not a quarterback stat, bro.
You're going to be deep.
Jalen Hurts is going to win this game, brother. How about that?
The Bengals have to absolutely win this game. If you lose this, you're looking at yourself 2 games under 500. In this state of the AFC North, you really can't afford that.
John, you hate Jalen Hurts so much that you'd pick a division rival over him?
I don't hate Jalen Hurts.
No, bro, you got something against him.
I think he's been average and been better the last 2 weeks, but he's really declined after his MVP campaign. So, John, when he was having the MVP campaign, I actually kind of made a case for him to win it that year. But I think since then, he has just regressed. And when he got that $50+ million contract, it was with the expectation of him continuing to improve the way he did his first 3 years. We just haven't seen that since.
So, John, I have the Bengals schedule for you because I thought about this being a must-win game, but then I said, you know what? I think they can afford to lose this one. If they lose to the Eagles, they're 3-5. Next week they face the Raiders. I think that's a win.
Pretty comfortable.
They face the Ravens. I think that's a loss. Then they're on the road against the Chargers. I think that's a win. Then they play the Steelers. The Cincinnati Bengals are at home. I think that can go either way. But then they have the Cowboys, Titans,
Steelers,
and Browns.
Chargers, and Cowboys. Those 3 games, I could see them easily going 1-2.
I could see them winning the Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns. Because those are 5 wins right there.
They haven't taken care of business this year.
Cook.
Hey, I understand, but I think now they're more in a more focused mindset.
They're not beating the
roster.
Eagles.
It's the same team.
They're not.
But I do think for Cincinnati, the key is being able to run the football more effectively. Because with Chase Brown, there have been some spurts of him having explosive runs. But what gives me less confidence in picking Cincy is that ground game is not as consistent. So you're putting all of your faith in them just winning through the air. And they can, but how consistent will that be?
Listen, it's not too late to change your pick.
All I'm saying is that the Bengals season is not over if they lose this game. That's what I'm saying.
It's not too late. If you want to keep it, go ahead.
They're going to be a 6 seed at best.
One bro to another. I'm giving you an out.
Well, they weren't going to win the division anyway. The Ravens are going to run away with that division crown.
Well, the Steelers got a chance.
They're not going to win the division.
They got a chance.
That's confidence right there.
They got a chance.
Big Bagels guy showing. I wasn't even confident this team win the division.
We really went from fucking 8 out of 10 panic to run away with the division in like 3 weeks. Crazy.
No,
it was 4. No, but yeah, I don't think the season's over if they lose. That's what I'm saying. So if you're banking your lot,
tough matchups.
Bro,
Ravens, Steelers, Chargers, and the Cowboys.
Bro, the
Raiders are not. It's not a tough match.
Bro, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Browns, the Titans, the Cowboys.
Browns, Titans. Yeah, those are easy. Pretty.
The Chargers just lost to the Cardinals,
and the Raiders too.
If you can't beat the Chargers, you have no business being a playoff team. Correct?
They're an average team.
Didn't the Broncos lose to the Chargers?
Agreed. It's division though, different.
Okay.
At the same exact
Different
time,
type of
that's the
matchup.
Chargers in 3 weeks, which theoretically gives them more time to get healthy with one of the best head coaches in football.
Oh, Quentin Johnston's going to be back. That's going to be the difference maker.
Listen, I
Well, I
think
just think Herbert had
the
more
only
time
way the
to get
Bengals win this game is if they run the ball, which they can, because the Eagles' run defense has not been that good, and they have to air it out, and they have to create a lot of explosive plays. On the flip side, you have to generate turnovers on Hurts, and if they're playing with the run game getting going, you have to hope that Jalen Hurts has a bad game. If he has an okay game, I think they win this game. He doesn't even have to be great or exceptional. He just has to play well.
Be on
That's
time, keep the offense and schedule, take care of the ball.
Ravens versus Browns.
So I'm taking the Ravens.
Jameis Winston, first start. It's a shame couldn't see him with Amari Cooper.
I will say, watching the Bucs running backs, really Rachaad White go out there and ball up against the Ravens. It was like the first time we've seen all season a running back group go out there and play well against the Ravens. Interested to see how Nick Chubb looks in this matchup. Sure. That's really the only thing that I'm looking at. And of course, Njoku, he's a dog, especially when Deshaun Watson's not playing quarterback. However, Ravens, not thinking twice about this. Derrick Henry's going to continue his dominant tour, and so is Lamar Jackson. Not much else to say.
Yeah, no, I got Baltimore in this game. Kevin Stefanski's also giving play calling to Ken Dorsey now, so he's taking a bit of a step back from that. Interesting that the same week, obviously, Deshaun goes out, that he's also taking away some play calling duties. Not really sure why, but Ken Dorsey, he was really good with Buffalo, right? Like they were top 10 in EPA success rate, all of that shit last year. He got fired, of course. Joe Brady's doing a good job there now. But yeah, Baltimore should win this game, divisional game. So of course it could go, weird things happen, and Baltimore, does have kind of a track record sometimes of like winning a couple, like going on these win streaks, then losing the game they're not supposed to. I think of the Raiders earlier in the year, but Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry are playing way too well for me to pick against them.
Did you see, who led them last week in target share?
Target share?
Target share.
Was it Andrews?
No? Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Browns.
The Browns?
Oh, Tillman.
Yes.
Yes. He had like 11 targets.
Yes,
10, 11
he
targets.
did. He did. Pretty interesting. Cedric Tillman.
He was so bad.
Maybe he's a fantasy league winner this year.
Sneaky. Dynasty
anyone pick
play.
him up?
Listen, the Ravens are gonna win this game pretty easily. I did this thing where I just had these cross-off teams and teams that I feel like just are done to not make the playoffs, even if I'm looking at the best case scenario. The Browns are one of those cross-off teams for me. I'm not paying attention to them for the rest of the season. There's no relevance there. I think they should probably be selling. The Ravens this year, their defensive DVOA is 13th. Their EPA per play is 27th. That's the biggest gap of any team, DVOA and EPA per play wise. And a big reason why their EPA per play on defense is that down is because when they have intercepted the ball, they haven't had any return yards off of it. They've kind of intercepted it and they stayed in place. So the EPA generated wasn't as high. But DVOA takes into account the strength of schedule. And thus far, the Ravens have had the number 4 hardest schedule of opposing offenses. So this very much is one of the better defenses in football. EPA wise, they're just not getting the love that they deserve. But DVOA, yeah, just adjusting for the defense and the competition, they're playing really well.
I just wish the Ravens would keep the same energy come playoff time. I really do.
Fingers crossed.
It would be a movie.
Well, they were number 1 DVOA last year as a team, historic team. Historic team.
It'd be like that sometimes. That's what Kansas City did to them.
I need them.
They stacked that box and the
Don't
Ravens.
fucking. How about we
I
run the
told you,
ball
bro,
with Derrick
we're
Henry?
here. Lamar Jackson stands.
Let's fucking run the ball with Derrick Henry and get to the
Please.
playoffs, man.
Yeah, I've got the Ravens winning, but I'm pretty excited to see Jameis. And also Nick Chubb last week got in the end
They're
zone.
excited to see Jameis.
I'm
Whoa,
gonna yes.
Real ball
What am I
lovers
gonna
love
get?
Jameis.
I'm
gonna
gonna get
turn
multiple
on the-
interceptions.
I'm gonna
You
turn on
seem
the
like-
Ravens Browns
you seem like
game.
a
I'm gonna
Jameis
look
guy,
to watch
too.
it.
He was a Jameis
Oh,
guy.
I'm not tweaking. Okay.
The Browns, I don't want to watch. It's just a mess. Like, who cares
they're
about the
gross.
Browns?
He's right. He's right.
Even with Jameis, like, oh yeah, I'm
Nick
gonna
Chubb.
watch because it's
Nick Chubb.
Jameis.
Barfeld store,
Yeah, I guess.
I guess.
Unless he's relevant for my fantasy team, I don't care.
I have him in multiple leagues.
Who?
He is on one of my teams, but I'm not starting him just yet. So maybe I'll
Yeah,
keep
he
an
only
eye
had
on this
like
game
20
for
some
that.
yards.
Yeah,
So he got
22
touchdowns.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. But
So you got the Ravens, John?
no, I have the Browns. Yeah.
Titans versus Lions. I got the Lions.
Lock of the week. We got to keep rolling. Broncos last week. Detroit. We're here. No brainer.
Yeah, Lions should win this game. Titans are another one of those teams we're going to add to your cross-off list because I don't think they got any chance of making the playoffs.
They're on the cross-off list. I think they're done. They're selling already. Ernest Jones got traded to the
Hey,
Seahawks.
we were
DeAndre
right about their
Hopkins.
defense. We
Did
were
they give
right.
up?
It's a great defense.
What did they give up for him? Wasn't it in the 4th or 5th?
All I know is that they got more back by trading
okay.
him. They kind of recouped. They got a pick around earlier. So it was a good move, I guess, they knew that they couldn't compete. Okay, we're gonna trade Ernest Jones. I thought it was smart.
I mean, I think we all knew the Titans were a 6-win team going into this year. Realistically,
It depended on what the offense
Levis,
was.
Yeah, what the Mayo Man wanted to do. Did you
Brian
see
Callahan's
he's
also
sponsored by
not
Heinz?
Really?
Sorry.
Hellman's. Or
Hellman's.
whatever?
I just want to see Mason Rudolph ball out. Last week was a whatever game from him, but I've also got Detroit
Got
comfortable.
a lot of
in this
obscure
matchup.
quarterbacks you're rooting for here.
Yeah. Jameis Winston, Mason Rudolph.
I like gunslingers.
You
What
used
can I
to
say?
be a
I grew up
Jameis
on
guy.
Big
What
Ben.
are you doing?
I grew up on Big Ben.
Mason Rudolph's
I
a
like,
gunslinger?
He's got.
He
cannon.
was with Pittsburgh last year.
You like low key.
It was
also-
a movie.
He also like Mason Rudolph's the guy that got bashed by the media.
He did.
And
Well, he
I
was
always-
terrible in like his first couple of years when he had
He
both
wasn't
spot
even
starts.
terrible. He was whatever. He was okay.
I thought he was terrible, but last year he moved.
Terrible. He was all right.
Okay.
And then he also got like a concussion, and then once he got that concussion, his play fell off a cliff. But then to see him after all of that be QB3 behind Mitch Trubisky nearly sunk our season, and then Rudolph the I can't speak. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer comes in and saves our season. We were down in the water. He wins his 3 straight games. He plays great football. Why are you making that
It's a
face?
Steeler legend.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm completely unrelated. Continue.
Okay, he had 3 weeks of just pure poetry.
It was
in the
magic.
pocket.
It was lit.
As a Steeler fan,
Him and George Pickens. It was viral.
It was special.
Ben Simmons 4-3-3 in the first quarter.
You're
Who are they
celebrating
playing?
Ben Simmons having a single.
They're playing the
touchdown.
Hawks.
The Nets.
Yeah.
I thought the Pacers were playing the Hawks.
Pacers playing the
No,
Pistons.
Pacers
They're
are playing the
losing.
Pistons.
You're
and they're
right.
losing.
Down
We're
double
celebrating
digits.
Ben Simmons having 3 assists in the quarter.
4-3-3. He's 4-3-3 right now at the end of the first.
4 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds.
Let him cook.
Okay.
It's on
Next
pace for a
game
damn
up.
triple double.
We have the Colts versus the Texans.
Bounce back game for the Texans. Although sneaky. I can see it. Where the Colts go out there and they make it a struggle for the Texans, especially after how the first game looked. It was extremely close, especially this was the only performance that we saw Anthony Richardson outwardly dominate or just be the only great performance of his season. But I think we see a more refined, a cleaner game out of Houston this go around. And I think this is a bounce back for the Houston Texans offense. We spoke about it on the last episode, what the Packers were able to do and how uncomfortable they made CJ Stroud, or just how uncomfortable they made the pass offense as a whole. This is a bounce back game. I think Joe Mixon goes out there, has a similar performance as week 1, but I think we see more of a Stephon Diggs domination, a Tank Dell getting more acclimated, getting more involved into the offense. Whether they go in, it's just more design plays just to get him the ball and get him in space. He's too fast, too explosive. You need to get the ball in his hands just to get him some confidence back in this team, especially without Nico Collins. You need to try and find different ways of pushing the ball vertically down the field. So give me the Texans. Not thinking too much about this one.
Yeah, I got Houston too. If the Colts want to win, they need GT back. He's limited in practice today. First time returning to practice in multiple weeks. So he probably has to have a full practice for me to believe that he's going to. He might even miss one more week. But yeah, I mean the Colts it's ugly right now, right? We mentioned the uncatchable target rate on the last episode. When they have Joe Flacco, it's like top 5. When they have Anthony Richardson's like bottom 3 in the league. It sucks because I think this wide receiver core is really damn good. Josh Downs, when he was with Flacco, was probably on his way to a breakout season. Like if Flacco played all 17 games, he would have easily broke 1,000 yards. Michael Pittman, Pierce down the field, A.D. Mitchell in spots here and there. I think they have a really solid core. Just Anthony Richardson right now he's really struggling as a passer, right? And you were expecting him to take some sort of maybe mini jump this year, right? Not go backwards.
Is
or
this
be
worse than Trey Lance? I think it's
Well, Trey Lance, we only saw like
3 starts.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
They're
So
such similar
it's tough.
quarterbacks, but I feel like with AR, you've expected a lot more.
Yeah.
Like you should expect.
But
He
yeah,
also
I got
played at
Houston
Florida.
in this game.
I think Anthony Richardson's going to pick it up. I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it's going to be closer to the second half of the season when we get around like week 10 when they face some lighter
You
competition.
need him to and obviously injury could happen to anybody. We need to have Anthony Richardson be healthy for like 8 games in a row, right? Like throughout his career, has he played more than 3 games in a row in his career? Like it's difficult for a young quarterback to gain any sort of rhythm when you only play in 2 or 3 games. You get injured, you miss 2 weeks, it's difficult to build confidence that way.
I think one thing's for sure is that I'm surprised that the Colts are this in it. They're 4-3. The Texans are 5-2.
The Colts suck.
If the Colts win this game, they will have the same record as the Texans,
It's insane.
even with
It's insane
how
to think about.
up and down they've been playing.
They're not
They've
a good
stumbled
team.
their way to 4-3.
Yeah, it just really
It's
depends on Anthony Richardson and how he plays. Because if he plays well, they could win this game. But I'm going with the
Absolutely.
Texans.
Right.
Pissed off team, gonna win. Packers versus the Jaguars.
Would you
Not
I don't think
fucking
John.
I've also got the Texans in this
Okay.
game, but I think it's just a bounce back week for CJ Stroud, and They're
It
gonna
should
need,
be, yeah.
The Colts are going to need a lot of things to go their way to really make this a upset win on the road.
No buys this week, too. Kind of nuts.
It is, right? I was looking at the slate. I'm like, there's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games.
So the Packers are playing the Jaguars, and my biggest concern for this game is just what's going to happen with Travis Etienne. I have Tank Bigsby in a couple leagues.
Hey, gang, I'll tell you what. Don't start him.
Don't start Tank Bigsby.
No.
ETN.
Don't start Etienne.
Oh, he was already getting cut. Yeah.
You're going to cut him.
I'm close to.
You're cutting him.
I'm close.
Relax.
I'm really close.
What league is this? Trade.
It's a Sloppy Sundays.
Here's
We
what's
can talk. I'll send you sign later.
okay. I will say, obviously, taking the Packers. Jaguars defense stinks. I believe Jordan Love is going to go out there and do whatever he wants. Jaden Reed didn't have his best performance, not by any means last week. I think we see a bounce back out of him. I just think we see a great performance from the passing game as a whole. I didn't think it performed at its best last weekend. I think they have a bounce back game similar to how I'm anticipating their previous matchup in the Texans. Give me the Packers, Jaguars. You want to talk about a team that we only care about the Jaguars realistically because they have a young, promising quarterback in Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas. That's the only reason we care about him. And take Bigsby very quietly. I care a lot about
He's good.
him.
He's
I
been
care a
good,
lot
yeah.
about him. He's making me look smart. So I'm going to take the Packers. I think that we see Tank Bigsby, unless the score gets out of hand very quickly, which it obviously can because Packers can go up and put up points against this weak defense. But Tank Bigsby, especially with the Packers defense, rush defense in particularly, not being the best, you could see him have a good performance. That's why I say he probably is a flex play RB2.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is we've seen if the Jags get down, Dearness Johnson's like their
That's true.
catch-up back,
Yeah.
right? So if that happens, Tank could see less snaps, and this could be a game that's fucking 28-3 at halftime. But yeah, for the Jaguars, I'm really here for two reasons. Brian Thomas, superstar, absolutely. Trayvon Walker's been really good this season
Cook.
too. You know, he's top 12, top 15 in pressures right now. He's getting to the quarterback, so of course, rookie season a bit underwhelming, but this season he's had a bit of a bounce back year. So good to see him living up to that number one overall pick type of hype. But yeah, other than that, Jaguars team's pretty much a mess. Defense sucks. Trevor Lawrence has been playing better lately, but the Packers are a better team.
Yeah, when I was doing my cross-off teams, the Jaguars
You thought about it?
barely made it out of the cut, but
They're
they
crossed
made
off
the
in
cut.
pencil? Oh,
yeah,
I'm
they got
surprised.
crossed off because their next 5 games are all against playoff level teams, and if they lose 2 or 3 of them, their season's done. So
Maybe they'll have a reverse of last year.
there was some projecting here.
Hey, they're clutching up
with the Jaguars.
Two wins in a row.
You're right, but they were down 10-0 to the Patriots very early on,
But
and
they
then
came back.
yeah,
rallied.
they did. I have the Packers in this game. I don't think the Jags are going to be able to handle these blitz looks, these pressure packages.
Right.
Their defensive backs are really damn good, which is making me question if I want to start Brian Thomas Jr. at all. Because going up against Jair Alexander, having that safety help, I'm kind of concerned a little bit, but I think the Packers should win this game convincingly.
Yeah, I think the Packers can hit up 35 points on this Jaguars defense. I think really for
5 passing
Jacksonville,
touchdowns from Jordan Love.
4
MVP, he answers the conversation.
quite easily.
We need no
Jacksonville-
picks. We need no picks.
Oh, well, you know he takes care of the ball.
Do we know that?
No, he doesn't.
Jacksonville has so many really dynamic playmakers. You talk about Brian Thomas. You talk about Tank Bigsby's been playing pretty well as well. But I just think so often they put themselves down early in these games. And their game script totally switches the way you could utilize those weapons. But yeah, I mean, it's just the Jaguars are the depressing team to watch this entire year. I feel like there's so much untapped potential
like the
with this
Jets.
group. If they could just get that culture to reset. But until they can really find themselves that spark, I'm not really going to pick them a single game, especially at the playoff team.
Next game, we have the Cardinals versus the Dolphins. There's going to be some projecting here because the Dolphins might get Tua back. And I think that changes some things about this game. Even though I was contemplating picking the Dolphins regardless, but Tua, if he's back, I think they win.
Acknowledge. The tribal chief is fucking
These are
back.
2 of your quarterbacks going head-to-head, potentially.
Say that one more time.
Kyler, Tua, 2 of your quarterbacks.
Oh, no, I know.
2 of
My
maybe your 2
dogs.
most favorite, possibly.
It's Tua a large gap. K1. I love Tua more than anyone else. That being said, we're back.
Kyler might be your second.
We're
favorite,
back.
I think.
He might
Caleb,
be. He
Kyler,
might. Caleb.
Hurts.
I'll give Kyler the nod.
You took Caleb over him in your My Guys draft. That maybe the most shocking moment in pick a side history
was
is you
nuts.
taking Caleb Williams
Just
over
because
Tua.
I got the jersey that day.
Even
I got
so.
the jersey that day. That's really what influenced me. Tua's number 1. No one will ever be.
But a My Guys
glorious
draft
king.
is like,
But he is my guy. I got a jersey of him.
who is more of your guy, Tua or Caleb?
Easily Tua.
Why
Easily.
didn't you take
It's
him?
fair for you
Did
to
you
call me
think
out
about-
on that.
Did you think about taking Tua on that moment? I just skipped over.
Just didn't. I was just
forgot
like,
about
jersey.
Tua.
Give me
Jersey,
Caleb.
Caleb.
It's my guy.
Okay.
But agreed. Tua is the whole world knew. Someone just rip ass.
No, this being worked on outside.
Give me the Dolphins. Okay. Been one of the best pass defenses in football. Jalen Ramsey, Kendall Fuller have been as advertised coming into the season. They really have been standouts this year. They've been amazing. Now you get Tua back into this offense, and now the life is back. There's so much juice in the room. When he goes out there and he's on the football field playing quarterback, everybody gets a boost. Tyreek Hill's going in the media and he's already talking. Start me, fire me up. I'm back. Going up against the Cardinals, that's a joke. Justin Herbert, who hasn't thrown for 300 yards in what feels like moons, goes out there and throws for 324 as his best game of the season and still loses. However, that's going to be different when you're going up against Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa at the helm. I'm excited. I'm going to watch every single minute of this game, at least every minute of offensive snaps, because I'm excited and I didn't think he'd play football again. So the fact that he's back and he's playing, I'm ready to go. I think Jalen Waddle also goes out there and has a great ball game. Devon Achane, he only plays well when Tua's in the lineup, and that's going to be a huge boost there. This offensive line, shout out to Teron Armstead, who obviously we know he's an amazing elite talent at the left tackle position. He's been arguably the best left tackle in football this season. He's been fantastic, especially while Tua's been out there, or it hasn't been out there. He's done a great job of protecting Snoop, and now with Tua back in there, it's great to know that he's playing his best brand of football, and he's been healthy and contributing at his highest of levels. So give me the Dolphins. I'm just super pumped for this game.
Yeah, I got the Dolphins in this game too. I'm expecting Tua to play. Obviously, if Tua was out, I'd be taking Arizona.
Agreed.
But Tua was back at practice today. They've been saying for over a week now that week 8 he was gonna be back in action. So I'm expecting him to play. I know the offense is gonna be great, right? When Tua's out there, Mike McDaniel playing against a soft defense, this should be light show for Miami. I am interested to see how real is this Miami passing defense. I don't know if Arizona's the real litmus test, because Kyler Murray's been struggling. This passing offense as a whole has been struggling, because these last few weeks they've been great. They've also gone against pretty poor opponents. And when you have Tyler Huntley or Tim Boyle on the other side, there's just not as much pressure for the offense to throw the ball, right? You could be more conservative. You could run the ball more. So because if this Miami's defense is real, because they've been playing like a top 5 unit in terms of pass defense, and the secondary's been playing lights out. If they're at that level, Miami could really make some noise, because we know how great this offense can be. But yeah, I got Miami in this game. They should be able to beat Arizona.
Well, they're real against teams that don't have good offenses.
Yeah, they played Tennessee, New England, and the Colts 3 out of the 4 weeks.
Listen, are you going to say Colts aren't real?
They're passing
offense.
With
you tell me, I
Richardson,
know you love AR.
No.
So they're ass. He's ass.
He's not a good passer.
I hate that.
He's completing like 40% of his
He was
passes.
7 for 20. Was that what it was? His final stat line?
It was pretty terrible. No, I think it's a clean sweep Dolphins as long as Tua comes back and he's healthy. Cardinals are one of the worst teams in football. The fact that they're 3-4 is kind of surprising.
James Conner.
Their schedule
James
does
Conner's
lighten
really
up in the second half, and they could
It's
make a
10 for
run in the
24.
second half.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
he was pretty inaccurate. I just think for Arizona, what they need is to find that consistency with Marvin. I've been disappointed. I think we all have been a little bit underwhelmed with Marvin Harrison's production.
See the stat I sent you?
And
Yeah.
So to emphasize that point, he has been elite at 3 particular routes: comeback route, crossing route, post route. In those respectively, 5th best, 6th best. He runs that route at 24.6%. Those 3 routes, 24.6%. On a go route, which goes to your point about the explosiveness, he's the 5th worst, and that makes up 23% of his routes. That's fucking insane to me.
It's crazy.
Utilize his strengths. Figure it out. The numbers are out there. Please.
Because this Cardinals offense has a lot of talent. Trey McBride being healthy. You have one of the better running backs in football. Marvin, as a vertical threat, should be one of the best options in football. And then you have those second options like your Michael Wilsons and Ray Dorches. They should not be scoring 17 points and barely squeaking out these wins. So I'm hoping Arizona can kind of get things going a little bit here, but I'm also going to take the Dolphins. I just need Tyreek to start to get going, because right now I'm fantasy. I'm between him, I'm between Pickens.
Start of the week, baby.
I'm taking Pickens.
Hell yeah, Tyreek Hill.
Over
Who are you
Pickens.
between?
Over Pickens?
Oh, start Tyreek, brother. Tua plays, it's not even close.
If Tua plays, Tyreek Hill is one of the GOATs.
Who are the Steelers, mine?
This upcoming week?
Yeah.
Giants. Sunday Night Football.
Whoa, Tay Banks.
I think
Tay
it's
Banks
Monday.
been cooking.
Monday.
It is Monday.
Tay Banks been cooking.
Now, honestly, though, we could talk about Marvin. We could talk about his utilization. Yeah. Kyler just hasn't been playing well too.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like Kyler has been missing reads. He's been obviously the double move we talked about. He hasn't
Won
been
last
playing.
week after
I
we
don't
talked
want to.
shit.
Listen, when Kyler plays well, we acknowledge it. We're all Kyler
Yeah.
fans here. When he doesn't play well, it's going to hurt the offense, obviously.
Right. I think part of it's coaching, part of it's scheme, because since he's come off the torn ACL, we haven't seen that consistent passer that we saw pre-injury. So
As a rusher, though, this man, he's elite.
Not Tyrese Halliburton, 2 for 10 with 2 turnovers at halftime.
Still hurt.
I saw he took over.
Against
Jay
the
Dix.
hurt.
What?
Still hurt.
Be serious.
Harden was still hurt after the 2021 playoffs.
Yeah, listen,
But
it's one
Halliburton
game.
took JJ's kind of seat in the podcast.
He did.
Is that like an official?
No, they
long-term
said
thing?
revolving doors
Revolving door?
with NBA players.
And he will be one of the hosts.
Yeah,
though.
that's awesome.
Who else? Who else be on there?
Trey
Mikal?
Murphy's gonna do like film breakdowns for them.
That's
Hopefully
fire.
D'Lo.
Could Mikal? I think Mikal is one of the representatives of the podcast, so maybe him too.
We'll see.
Mikal who?
Either way,
So,
Yeah.
speaking to this Kyler point, Kyler Murray said this. I haven't been on Twitter, but I'm sure people are talking about Marvin being open on the double move. In
God.
that moment, I'm trying to move the change. Not the chains. I'm trying to move the chains. Now, to everybody that's seen that clip, it went viral after the game. Marvin Harrison Jr. runs a double move. He is wide open. You want Kyler Murray to throw that for your fantasy team so you can win your leagues and stuff. But on the front side of that play, Kyler Murray did get pressured instantly.
did.
The right guard got instantly beat, and you can critique Kyler and say, listen, after he evades the pocket, he should set his feet and just throw that ball down the field. But I'm also here to say that Kyler Murray, once he evaded that pressure and got outside the pocket, he passed a dime to Trey McBride that ended up being a first down.
Yeah.
So it's not like that play was a negative play.
they
It
won
was
the
a
game.
positive play.
They won the game, too.
But you want him to hit that to Marvin. I understand that, but I thought that specific play is an example of why everything's connected in football. A receiver can't get the ball if a quarterback's getting pressure instantly and can't throw that, because the first read on that play was to Marvin. Kyler's eyes were going to Marvin, but once he got pressured, he had to drop his eyes and he had to move off that because he got pressured, and I think that's all it is. Even though Kyler's getting really criticized for that, people throwing a lot of backlash at his name for it, for not hitting that play.
I was bummed. Would love to see it, but I get it.
Jets versus Patriots.
You tell me.
The Jets are winning this game.
Did you see the Devontae Adams speech thing?
He cooked.
It moved me.
He cooked.
Loki was like, you know what? He's right.
How the fuck is Brees Hall going for the biggest play of the season
Fact.
and no one's getting fucking geeked up?
Here's the thing about that moment, though. That moment should have came from Aaron Rodgers before.
I don't give a fuck. Let Devontae be the leader.
Yeah, we need it, but I'm saying that should be Aaron Rodgers. That's why we brought him.
I think it should be the sideline, because when you're on the field, like, I feel like it's stay in the moment. All right, let's go. Let's keep it going. I'm not expecting Rodgers to be
No,
like, let's fucking go,
facts.
Brees. But I'm expecting the sideline, Braylon Allen,
Tweak
all
out.
these dudes, and maybe Braylon did. I'm not just trying to call him out, but Tay was right, because this team, I get it. You're 2-4, right? This was a game that was kind of slipping away, even though this was early in the game, right? So this was them. This was them building this 15-6
we were
lead.
dominating, bro.
You're right. Yeah. So
We were smoking them.
I mean,
the
yeah,
king of quarter fucking sample sizes.
the joy of this team. It's
can't.
It was a quarter and 14 minutes.
the vibes around the Jets are not great right now, but who knows?
No, they're gonna beat the Patriots. And listen,
All
last year the Packers started out 2-5. They made the playoffs. I'm just saying, every year something happens.
If being up 15-13 is
we were up
just-
15 to
yesterday he was out.
6.
Today
Drew, if being up 15-6 is domination, what is 31 unanswered points?
That's domination.
That's just domination
I'm
too.
not
So that's
arguing-
equal playing fields. 9 versus
I'm not
31 point
arguing that
differential.
the
So
Steelers didn't embarrass the Jets. The Steelers embarrassed the Jets, but I'm saying that it was 15-6. The Steelers' offense was not able to get nothing.
Yeah, I mean, John,
Yeah,
you guys,
and then
you
Russell
dominated
first
us.
drive.
I'm not going to
First
say
drive.
what
What do we-
lie,
No,
but
Joel,
First drive.
stop.
First drive, he moved down the field.
Don't go out
They
there
were
and look
moving
at
the
John.
ball on you guys.
You're looking at John wide-eyed like it matters that you
John,
played really well
that
for
first
fucking
half,
29
you
minutes.
weren't scared.
No.
Okay, he's
Fuck.
lying.
He's lying.
He's lying.
He's lying.
So the Jets were up
But-
15-6, and you weren't thinking with the Jets
You're
having
getting
the
the
ball,
ball, too.
with the Jets having the ball and being able to get a field goal
Locked
before
on
the
Jets.
half,
Here we go.
getting the ball at the
saw those
beginning of the
comments?
second half. I mean, come on, man. I thought once Rodgers did that interception, I knew you guys
I
were
wasn't
coming
fucking
back.
scared. Beanie Bishop.
Okay.
You weren't scared, but you picked the Jets to win.
The Jets are in a cross-off team, right?
Damn, he
No, not yet.
Not
Not yet.
We lose this game in a
That was the
cross-off.
best
Yeah.
part by far.
Listen, if the Jets win this game, they're 3-5.
They got Houston the week
The
after.
Houston game matters the most, and I think
That's
between
Thursday
the
night. That's a
Bills,
short
Vikings, and Texans, The Houston game is the one I feel most comfortable
the games
about.
that matter the most are the ones right in front of you. Yeah. This game matters the most. If you go out and you fucking lose this game, it's over. We can't go look weeks ahead in advance when you're 2-5.
Yeah, but I think
this game is the most important.
They haven't lost versus 1-win teams. I mean, they're 2-0 versus 1.
You're cooking.
Well, the Broncos might have had 1 win. They lost the Broncos anyways. But
I'm just saying. I also think we can win this game, but if we lose against the Texans, it doesn't matter. Like, we have to win every game.
Do you think you're gonna win every game rest of the season?
No, I'm saying we have to.
But you have to
we don't
go
have
like
to win every game.
Fucking 8-2. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I
you gotta win
agree.
basically all of them.
We can only afford to lose 2 games the rest of the way. That's really what it is.
To be honest with
still
you,
proud to miss the playoffs 9-8.
I feel like
There's a
I'm
chance,
more
but
than okay
tiebreakers.
for the rest of the season, depending on matchups, of course, because next week I'm going to take Houston. I'm okay taking you guys as the favorites against teams you should be and being wrong. I'm okay with it. I was fine with it last week. I'll be fine with it this week. I think that Drake May gives them something that they didn't have last time you guys matched up, which is something being able to move around in the pocket. You see his connection with Hunter Henry. That's been something exciting these last couple of weeks. Now, of course, Ramondre Stevenson 1 week removed from the injury. Interested to see if he's more involved in the offense. I'm taking the Jets, but my Lord have mercy. I would not be shocked if they lost. I really wouldn't.
I don't know. What happens if they lose? Todd Downing becomes the head coach, or what's next? I think big news, DJ Reed practicing full, so he should be back for this game. Michael Carter also returned to practicing limited, so he should maybe play.
And Hassan Reddick.
Oh, yeah, fuck that
Love
guy.
that for you, man.
Hassan Reddick is back.
that guy.
Playing, honestly, for being real, probably playing for Hassan Reddick, not really playing for the Jets, which I got to get your bread. But yeah, I got the
As
Jets.
long as he produces, I don't give a shit.
I don't disagree.
I don't care. As long as he's playing elite, I don't care. Play for yourself all you want.
Honestly, we were starting fucking Michael Clemens every week, and Michael Clemens is terrible. He's so bad. So Hassan Reddick's going to be a huge upgrade, even if he plays fucking 20 snaps. But yeah, Jets should win this game. They have to win this game. You know, they've been talking at the podium, Devontae Adams had the realest speech Aaron Rodgers said in 20 years. Aaron Rodgers saying, no, we just got to keep the vibes good.
Vibes are up right now.
That's cool.
No,
if
they're
you don't,
not up.
Don't fucking win games. The vibes don't matter. You got to win.
On a 4-game losing streak.
He just gave a great speech.
Well,
What do you mean?
You haven't won in a month.
I definitely feel better. I feel better today than I felt Sunday night.
I hope
Monday.
so.
Once I heard about Devontae making that speech, I said, "Okay, let's do this. we can do this." You're picking the Jets, right?
I am, but I think moving to this matchup, the Patriots are the better quarterback. Patriots, definitely, with the way that Drake May has looked, second quarterback since Dan Marino. Since Dan Marino, 500 yards, 5 tugs. Their defense is something I like.
3
And then I
turnover-worthy
think-
plays last week, by the way.
How many turnover-worthy plays Aaron Rodgers have?
Oh my God.
I think
Probably
by
2.
1 or 2.
Maybe only 1, because really the interception over the
Some
middle was only 1.
back-breaking turnovers what really matters.
Oh, come on, be real, John.
I just think Drake May opens up the entire passing game. He makes the box open up for Ramondre Stevenson, and I'll definitely be starting.
you had
this
Bo
week in
Nix over
fantasy.
Drake May in your quarterback rankings. Now you're a Drake May guy.
Wait, what?
Did you?
He did.
You had you're a Bo Nix guy and you're falling off.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You're
That never fucking happened.
All right, got you.
heart beating.
Wait, no, stop. I never once in my life ranked Bo Nix or Drake May.
All right, whatever you
Bo
say,
Nix
John.
sucks?
I had text
I
to
never
say
made a
otherwise.
quarterback ranking.
Sure.
So if you did,
When was this? It never happened.
bro,
That's what I thought.
your list was literally Jaden Daniels, which we gave you credit for.
Damn.
You said Bo Nix,
Over
Caleb
Caleb, yeah.
Williams, Drake May.
When did I say that?
Bro, we have the tape.
John, it's always an excuse with you, man.
Does that tape exist, John? Should
I
we
don't
call
believe so.
Santos to
Call Santos.
investigate this? Okay, well, we spent too much time on the Jets. Falcons at the Buccaneers.
I wanted to take the Buccaneers when I did my picks on Monday, but then Monday happened, and then unfortunately Mike Evans goes down, Chris Godwin goes down. For that reason, I can't take the Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Falcons, even though the Falcons are coming off a pretty bad loss versus the Seahawks. I look at this game and understand that Buccaneers defense still is weak. Of course, you're going up against the Baltimore Ravens, and the Baltimore Ravens are... John, I'm joking, okay? Just so you know, I'm joking about the list.
That never happened.
No, it didn't happen, of course. We were
Brandon
lying.
got a crazy dunk.
Did he?
Yeah.
Let's go. The Falcons are going to be able to put up points. And Bijan Robinson started to put it together these last couple of weeks. Finally, now he's being unleashed, and we're seeing production at its strongest. Drake London continues to be a dog. Even in a bad week, he still gets into the end zone. I still trust this Falcons offense. The defense, TBD. But regardless, I'm taking the Falcons on the road. I think they do win both times because the Buccaneers are just too beat up right now.
Yeah, the weapons room is really beat to shit. I'm excited to see what Jalen McMillan can do. Shout out to my guy Paul, who's a big Jalen McMillan fan. DeMar Seton Hall.
Okay.
I'm excited to see what he can do. As a prospect from Washington, he's someone that should be able to fit in. Yeah, shit was crazy.
Bro, already you put a tweet.
Oh, you're fucking nuts.
Did you see how many I had bang last night during the podcast while the Knicks game was going on?
The tweets you had, checking. Oh my God. That dunk was insane. But yeah, you had some good Tatum tweets. Oh my God.
I was just
I just seen the Celtics tweet. Jesus Christ.
I was tweeting
That
while we were doing
disgusting.
the podcast. Got to capitalize on time, multitasking.
You do.
But you got the Falcons too?
I got the Falcons. The Bucs are just too beat up for me.
Listen, I think you were right when you said about how this is an easier slate to predict just because there's a lot of mismatches going on here. The Buccaneers are unhealthy right now. They need their defense to carry them in this game. They are at home. Maybe that could give them a boost, but the Falcons should win this one. I'd be shocked if they didn't. But I also have to acknowledge that the Falcons defense sucks. Yeah. It's not a good unit. And they have certain players that are sprinkled in there that are not so bad, like Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell. They have some good players, Grady Jarrett, Caden Ellis. They have some good players, but as a whole,
can you respect Justin Simmons?
Justin Simmons, yeah, sure. They're safety duos.
Yeah, sure. Can you fucking respect him? My God.
But it's one of the worst pass defenses, one of the worst run defenses. So if the Buccaneers can run the ball and not rely so much on their passing game and not get down early, there's a chance they could win this one. But I got the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcons got a tough loss last week. A ton of turnovers in that game. And I just think it's a bounce back week for them, going up against an interdivision rival on the road that's down their top two wide receivers. So if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were healthy, I think this could be a total toss-up. But because of that, I'm going to have to lean with Atlanta.
Next game, we have the Saints and Chargers. This seems like another easy one.
Taking the Chargers because now Alvin Kamara has a broken hand, and now
he's playing, though.
He got extended too.
He's going to play.
He broke his hand in week 5.
He's different. Give me the Chargers, though, even though Chargers can find a way to lose a game. We saw that this past Monday. Give me the Chargers, though, because Saints defense also isn't good. And I think J.K. Dobbins can go out there and run it all over them, even though, the Saints really are just a mess right now from how high they started to how far they've fallen, and a lot of it's due to injury. I don't like the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers are an overwhelmingly good team, but they'll win this game.
Chuba Hubbard for J.K. Dobbins.
No.
You talking?
Not a chance. You gave it to me already.
Yeah.
I looked at the trade and I was like, wow, I didn't benefit from this trade at all.
No.
The Gio one saved my season.
You cooked with that trade. That trade was amazing. It was Ken Walker, and you traded Travis Kelce.
I traded Kelce and Jordan Mason for Ken Walker and Tucker Kraft.
Wow.
Amazing move.
That's an incredible.
I mean, Ken Walker's a fucking freak.
And Tucker Kraft's better fans than Travis Kelce.
Right now.
Okay.
He's definitely volatile week to week.
Yeah. I mean, he only got like 2 catches last week, but got a touchdown.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's just like the touchdown opportunities he's going to get.
It's just Kelce hasn't done anything this
What's
year.
going to
Now they got the
irk
D-Hop
me
too, and might
beyond belief is when week 17, suddenly,
goes for 100 yards.
Travis Kelce has 120 yards.
Yeah.
Week 18, 80 yards, but 2 touchdowns. Here's playoff time, and now Travis Kelce again. It'll piss me off so much because it was literally like that last year.
I got the Chargers in this game, though. The last 2 weeks, the passing offense for the Chargers, they've been passing more, and they've had some more success. You mentioned that Justin Herbert had his first 300-yard game. The week before, he had like 240, 250. So it's good to see them at least trying. But yeah, this should be a big J.K. Dobbins game, right? We saw on Thursday Night Football last week, Javonte Williams went out there and destroyed the Saints defense. So it was a bit weird that the Cardinals defense were really able to shut down J.K. I think that's why they went in a more pass-happy approach. But yeah, the Saints defense, especially in the run game, has not been good this season. So they should be able to rely on J.K. some more. And the Saints, obviously, still probably starting Spencer Rattler. Olave has a chance to come back from his concussion, probably will play. But again, the quarterback play is just too poor for me to pick them.
The Chargers defense has been really good this year.
Number
and
one
it's been
points allowed.
saving their grace. It's been saving their season.
That shit and you gave me a lot of flack for it.
What was it?
I said they were top 5 defense, and you're like, no way.
Yeah, they played, at the time, the Panthers, and
Raiders,
week 1 was the Raiders.
And the Raiders.
And they're
the
playing some good
Panthers and the
football.
Raiders. Week
And
2,
the
they...
Steelers.
Okay, which I also stand on. They haven't played good offenses. They still haven't.
They played KC.
Casey's not a good offense right now.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely above average, though.
Of course, because you have to respect Mahomes, but they're
First
really
in
not a
points
good
allowed.
offense.
First in
To
points
be honest,
allowed,
they don't
still
play a good
impressive.
offense till Cincy week 11. They got New
13
Orleans,
points
Cleveland,
allowed is pretty
Tennessee.
good.
Yeah, their stats are really
Last-
great because
last
they
game,
played
Cardinals,
mid.
To me, it's more about what they're
offense.
doing. I think Jesse Minter has this team
Talented offense.
playing well, and he's disguising a lot of the stuff that he's doing on the back end along the front end. It's kind of a combination. He's marrying those two things. I think the Chargers should win here. The Saints are just a bad football team. I think this team gave up on Dennis Allen against the Broncos. The defense stopped playing hard at all, and the receiver problem is very apparent. You know, Rashid Shaheed's out for the year. Chris Olave, is he going to return? They just signed MVS because they need some receiver help. This team is in the gutter. I got the Chargers at home. Bills versus Seahawks. This was a tricky game for me to predict.
I'm going to be honest with
Bills
you.
0-2 versus the 500 teams. Facing one this week.
I believe I'm taking the Seahawks. I think they can dominate the ground. Ken Walker has been one of the best running backs in football. It might be true that he's better than Breece Hall. He is unbelievable. He's been incredible. And I was talking about it with my boy Kevin, the only Seahawks fan that I know, and we were talking about it. Is Ken Walker top 5 running back right now in the NFL? Yes. You go Derrick Henry. You go Saquon Barkley. You respect the allure, the name CMC. He just has to be there even though he hasn't played.
Put him in that spot.
Of course. Is he in this conversation right now? Off the top of my head, I'm thinking he might be the 4th best right now.
There's a lot of names who have
If you're
played so
talking
well.
just the season, yeah. I think he's better than Alvin Kamara.
Is he better than Bijan?
That's close.
Is he better than Jameer?
It's close.
Is he better than Joe Mixon?
Better than Kyron.
He's better than Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
Is he better than Kyron? I want to say yes.
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 I want to say yes.
I believe he's been better.
He's better.
Bijan, Jameer are close. I think I would take Bijan over him.
Kyron and Kenneth Walker to me feels like a pretty close.
It's a toss-up. It's a coin flip. I can hear it.
Was so good.
He was dominant, and he's been a goal line machine. Yeah. I mean, however, back to my initial point. I think they win on the ground because Ken Walker has been so dominant. The status of DK Metcalf also makes me feel unsure in my upset pick of the week. However, you saw the way that they were able to execute on offense last week. Of course, DK Metcalf had an insane game. JSN, very quietly, has been having a really good season. You look at how dominant they've been on the ground, and especially how weak the Buffalo Bills rush defense has been. I think we'll see a good performance out of the Buffalo Bills offense. You've seen Keon Coleman. He's been one of the more impressive rookies in terms of yards per route run. Want to give him his flowers. You have Amari Cooper on the opposite side. Did drop a ball last week, but did get into the end zone. And James Cook, he should have himself a good ball game versus the Seahawks. But the Seahawks defense is getting healthy, and that's going to be huge for them in this one. Give me the Seahawks with my upset pick of the week.
I got Buffalo in this game. I think the Seahawks. I think this was one of like the 2 or 3 games. I was like, this is actually difficult to pick. But I do think the DK injury is going to be huge for them. They said when he first got hurt, he was week to week. I also think they have a bye coming up. Could be wrong about that. I'm not 100% sure.
I think their bye is week 10.
Okay, yeah, so we're in week 8. So yeah, maybe he doesn't miss multiple weeks, but the knee injury obviously wasn't serious enough to put him in IR or anything, but it did sound like he might miss at least a game. So that's kind of a big deal in this passing attack because Tyler Lockett and JSN all of a sudden being your wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, week 10 bye.
Yep.
That changes things because DK has been one of the best receivers in football this year. He has been an absolute stud. But I do see the path, like you mentioned, Drew, of how the Seahawks win this game. It's relying on Ken Walker. It's attacking this Bills rushing defense, but I think Amari Cooper changes his offense for Buffalo.
That's fair.
Right? The fact that he came in week 1, he was involved, had 50, 60 yards, had a touchdown. You saw Keon Coleman get involved as well. It was actually interesting because Keon Coleman was getting all of his looks when Amari Cooper was off the field, believe it or not, which is funny, but I do think just in general, when you have Amari Cooper there, it should bring some more opportunities for Keon because not that he was getting like shadowed or, double covered or anything like that. Just going to be more people paying attention to another receiver on this team. But I love the way Josh Allen's been playing, so I'll take them on the road.
I think the Seahawks just made one of the better moves of the season by trading for Ernest Jones. Jerome Baker and Tyrell Dodson had conflicting skill sets because both of them can do the same thing and are bad at the same thing. So it's weird how they play them. It's weird how they manage that dynamic. Jerome Baker this year, 15% missed tackle percentage. Ernest Jones, only 7%. So Ernest Jones is twice as good at finishing plays. And this year, the Seahawks have been terrible at tackling. And that's why they've let up big-time explosive runs and even long down and distance conversions.
Right.
Tyrell Dodson, now it was confirmed, Mike McDonald said he's playing weak side linebacker. Ernest Jones is our Mike linebacker. What that means is that Tyrell Dodson is not taking collisions head on and he's not taking up those blockers. He's going to be somebody that is going to roam around more. He's going to be in coverage. and that's his skill set. He's great in coverage, but he's not great against the run and blitzing. And Ernest Jones is that type of guy. He's that type of guy to shoot through a gap and take on multiple blockers and be a force in the run game. And that's not what Jerome Baker or Tyrod Dotson were good at doing. So I think it makes their linebacking core better. This is kind of like the Ravens, not to the same degree, but getting Roquan and having Patrick Queen. It opened up their defense and it made them that much better. And I feel like this move could be that for them, but not to that degree, because Roquan is an all-pro player. And Patrick Queen, how's it been doing for the Steelers, John? So just in Baltimore, he was good. That's what that face
He's
does.
a co-star, and that's okay.
Yeah. Sometimes players are like that, but yeah, they paid him, and it wasn't a big contract.
Damn,
that's a good
throwing
thing.
that in your face.
And Landon Roberts.
But he's throwing that in your face.
well.
Landon Roberts was fantastic.
How shameless he is. Like, your team literally dismantled them.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Queen doesn't
I'm just
have
asking.
to do anything.
I
We don't need him
wasn't
to.
sure if he was good or not.
Patrick Queen did not have to do anything for us to
I haven't
dominate
watched
you
Patrick
guys,
Queen
but
tape this year. Just
he's on a 1-year deal basically because
He
no
is.
guarantee money in the second and third year. This matchup's fascinating because
Did you see?
we've
Oh no, yeah, you just went. I just wanted to see the Patrick Queen point, but I just wanted to say that point. I'm going with the Bills here, even with Teron Johnson and Daquan Jones being questionable, and now Terrell Bernard. I think they will play in this game. I think it's going to matter. I just worry about the Seahawks offensive line, and the Bills defensive line is nothing to play with. They can get after it, even with Von Miller being suspended these past couple of weeks, and he's going to miss this game as well. This offensive line just scares me. Mm-hmm. If they cannot establish the run, it turns into Geno, save us.
Yes.
That's what their offense is. Geno Smith right now has the most dropbacks in the NFL, and it's not close. And if you don't have DK Metcalf in this game and you are passing the ball and airing it out, I just don't know how you win, especially with the Bills being able to run the ball and now adding Amari Cooper, who had 66 yards and only 19 snaps of offense. I mean, the Bills, I feel like, have the advantage.
Kenneth Walker's been great this year, but we've seen weeks where against the Giants and against the 49ers as well, they were not able to run the ball efficiently and consistently. So where you're putting your quarterback in these long third downs, like you just highlighted, and I look at the Bills, and Josh Allen this year doesn't have a single interception. 0 through 7 games. And the way the Seahawks went last week, 3 turnovers, I have a hard time seeing with Amari Cooper coming in, Josh Allen giving this game up. And quite frankly, I think this game can be a toss-up, but I'm going with the offense that I trust way more. I believe in Josh Allen to get it done. And like you highlighted, if DK doesn't play and you have to really rely on, Kenneth Walker against this Bills defense, I think they could do a better job this week defending the run. And then most importantly, I just have a lot of faith in Amari Cooper coming in, just injecting more life into this passing game.
The funny thing about Josh Allen having 0 interceptions is that he's putting the ball in harm's way more than he did last year. Last year, his turnover-worthy play percentage was much lower. This year, he has like 8 turnover-worthy plays on the season, but none of them have been intercepted.
Hey,
so he's kind of getting
lucky.
some lucky there.
Every
But
quarterback's got turnover-worthy plays.
No. Josh Allen is near the top of the league in the percentage of.
So
them.
he's due. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying he's due.
I think by me highlighting it, he could definitely be.
I'm saying it's just funny how last year people made a big deal about it when it wasn't that big of an issue, and this year it's actually been a bigger of an issue than it has been in the past. But because the raw numbers don't show it, then it's like, yeah, he's just taking care of the ball.
Who'd you take, John?
I've got the Bills.
Panthers versus the Broncos. Bryce Young
Young return, and if I didn't use my lock of the week last week on him, I would use it again this week. Give me the Denver Broncos, not thinking twice about it. I think we were able to really run the ball. I'm excited for Javonte Williams, especially after his amazing performance versus New Orleans Saints. I think we're just going to go out there and we're going to put up points, and we're going to win this game pretty comfortably, excuse me.
Yeah, if Andy Dalton was playing, this could maybe be a game, right? Because I still don't really trust Denver's offense. Although going up against the Panthers, they should be able to move the ball with no problem. But Bryce Young out there, if you got Broncos defense and fantasy, congratulations. This should be like a 20-point week at a minimum. Basically what they gave you last week against the Saints. But yeah, this is going to be tough with no Andy Dalton out there. And there's also rumors that Deontay Johnson's on the trade block, probably just trying to move off pieces because this is going to be a lost season right now. Maybe he could check out his new home. It's in Denver, right?
He needs a real quarterback.
Andy Dalton's looking
Go next.
How unfortunate he got into a car crash.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
he sprained his wrist or hand, something like that.
Yeah, I got the Broncos in this game. I have their defense in like 2 or 3 leagues, so I'm
you're
pretty stoked about that.
You're stoked.
Going from Andy Dalton to Bryce Young, that might be like a 10-point fantasy difference right there.
It really does. It's unfortunate. It sucks because for Bryce Young, he should not play the rest of this year. And that's like Zach Wilson year 3. It's like when a quarterback struggles that much, it's nice to kind of give him a few weeks off. But realistically,
like
I
3
don't think
weeks off, right?
realistically, I don't think Bryce Young has really gotten to the right mental headspace to really come into this matchup fresh, rejuvenated, and really against one of the best defense in football. A strong, stout front seven and one of the best cornerback rooms.
Yeah, Pat's gonna be back for this game.
It's gonna be a really tough matchup, and I wish this was not the week that he had to play.
Also, something notable. The Panthers O-line has been one of the best units in football. We have been one of the best defensive lines in football. We have the most pressures, most team pressures of any team in the National Football League. Very interesting to see how we match up against this unit. And, of course, with Bryce Young at quarterback, we'll probably get some
Bryce Young just needs to keep the offense on time. I think he needs to play within structure. And
let's be real.
At 5'9", it's harder for him to do that, yeah. But I think at the same exact time, he just needs to play within himself.
Is he going to pass for more than 80 yards?
Yeah, I believe so.
You think so?
They're going to be down by
I think it's going to be really hard.
I think they're going to be down by multiple scores.
Over under 145.
Under.
Okay.
I would set the line at like
80 and 140.
I would set the line at like 117 passing yards.
Okay, goddamn.
Okay, that's an obscure number, John. I'm actually looking at Prize Picks right now to see if they have his line out, because this is going to be, they don't have his line out just yet, so whatever. I got the Broncos in this one. Chiefs versus the Raiders.
It's another one. Maybe it's a division game. Maybe this is their first upset.
Raiders did it last year.
Yeah, it's true. That being said, the Chiefs are they just going to never lose?
Maybe.
That defense,
they're just going to win ugly every single week.
Give me the Chiefs. Every week I said it. I vowed. Here we go.
Yeah, D-Hop, obviously the big news today. D-Hop got traded. Not 100% sure if he's going to play, but he'll probably do like Amari Cooper type thing, right? Like he'll play 20, 30 snaps. He'll probably get like 50 yards or something. But yeah, Kansas City should win this game.
Next game, I got the Kansas City Chiefs.
John, Kansas City?
I also
Raiders,
Kansas City.
sure. Minshew?
Do you want me to take the Raiders?
Why not?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is a 3-touchdown game from Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to get on track. 0 interceptions.
Kareem Hunt's also been fucking amazing for them.
Yeah, he's been really great. Bears versus the Commanders. Now, the Commanders might be without Jaden Daniels.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it sounds like he might miss a week.
Yeah, but, Mariota kept this offense on schedule. And
Yeah,
they played really well.
defense except 36 points a game.
They weren't playing the Chicago Bears defense. Give me the Chicago Bears. If Jaden Daniels would have played, I most likely would have still picked the Chicago Bears.
Game of the week.
One of the best. Could have went in. We could be talking about one of the best games of the year. This offensive matchup would have been insane to watch, especially with Caleb and the way that he's played his last couple of weeks, going up and beating up against bad defenses. This is another one with the Washington Commanders, at least statistically. Give me the Bears. I think that they'll just play a clean game, and especially without Jaden, there's not much to think about.
Pacers and Pistons are in the dogfight right now.
They are. Cade caught a body, apparently.
The Pistons are going to be a lot better this year, but that's a completely different note.
They got Tobias Harris. He's a needle mover.
Tobias is actually cooking, believe it or not.
He's a good player, just not when there's expectations on him.
Yeah.
So Detroit's perfect for him.
He's back home. Didn't you used to play with them?
He did.
Yes,
they made the
he did.
playoffs with him, actually, last time he was there.
Sure.
With Andre Drummond and
You
Blake
sure about
Griffin,
that?
yeah.
Can they trade him for Blake?
Oh, you're right. Wait,
I had
no.
to get back at Joel.
Wait, John.
Josh Allen.
John. Tobias Harris, he definitely made the playoffs with the Pistons, though.
Maybe the year before, possibly in 2017.
Yeah, let me search that up.
2018-19, Blake was there. So I don't know if they did 17. Maybe
he definitely made the playoffs at 23 years old.
21-8 and
17-18.
He averaged 14 and 10 in that playoffs, the 15-16 season.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Was he in Detroit, though, then?
He was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He made the playoffs with Detroit.
Because I didn't think he was in Detroit for 3 years.
Asar is just a DNP player?
No, I think he's hurt.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris was with the Pistons.
He is hurt.
For 2 years. That's all
2
he was
years.
there for. Yeah. He played well in the Clippers. No, but yeah, I have the Bears. I think their defense is playing well, and the Commanders' defense is terrible, and they haven't faced good competition. But this is one of those games that I wish Jaden played, because we would have seen how he looked like against a great secondary, because their defense has been susceptible to the run. I think the case for the Commanders here, even with Mariota or Jaden Daniels, is can you establish the run? Because the Bears have not been good against the run, so if they can run the ball efficiently with Brian Robinson Jr., kind of get that quick game going, and their defense can get a couple stops, there's a way they can win this game. But I got the Bears coming off that bye week.
Yeah, I'm expecting Jane Daniels not playing this matchup, and I think it's a real bummer because this would have been, two at the top 2 picks in the draft. These are 2 teams that had the first and second overall pick. I can't tell the last time that those 2 teams then went on to start 5-2 and 4-2. So this would be an absolute, masterclass, I think, from Caleb. I think he's going to play a great game either way, and honestly, I think this is my lock of the week. Bears taking out the Commanders, and
Is that financial advice?
yeah, it is financial advice.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how much I'm
I'm
putting
gonna
that shit.
sue you.
I'm putting that shit to the bank. Okay.
If
Put
it's
it
wrong,
to the
I'm
bank.
suing you, John.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a lot of money on this. I'm gonna put $100 on this.
I'll
If
put
I don't win, I'm gonna sue
I'll put
you.
120.
Okay. Next game, we got the Cowboys versus the 49ers.
Sunday Night Football.
Must-win game for the 49ers, but their defense has been pretty average. Offense, we don't know what they're going to get right now, but I think this could be a big Jordan Mason game, and their run game just carries them to this victory. The Cowboys have looked really bad, and despite coming off a bye week, I really don't have much confidence in this team bouncing back.
Yeah.
Only thing that would make me even think about taking Dallas is that the Niners are banged up, but I think regardless of that, Cowboys defense simply not that good. Surprisingly enough, their pass defense statistically is number 1 in success rate.
What's their rush? It's probably
Yeah,
last.
it's not good, but they're like in the 39% success rate that they're allowing. They've really been pretty good in the past, but I think that's also in due part because teams are just running all over them, and Jordan Mason, like you mentioned, is going to have himself a great ball game, and the Niners simply own the Dallas Cowboys. You can't come into this game with that knowledge and not pick the Niners, so give me San Francisco to win this game.
Yeah, I got San Francisco too, even with all their injuries, right? We don't know if Debo's going to play. We don't know if Jawan's going to play. We don't know if Kittle's going to play. All of their offensive injuries are scary. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to trust Kyle Shanahan. You know, even coming off a bye, like you mentioned, Joel, Cowboys have done nothing to show me that I should trust them going forward. That being said, last year, they also struggled to start the year. They had their bye week. Then they started to cook. They played some easier opponents too, though, which definitely helped to be part of that success there. But San Francisco 49ers is not the team, especially on the road. Even with all the injuries, even with the defensive struggles they had, I'm still taking them to win this game.
You have the Cowboys or the 49ers?
I definitely know the Cowboys. Even with the Niners being really banged up, you're talking about Debo. George Kittle's didn't practice, but he should play with the sprained foot. He's day-to-day. That's it. I have a lot more faith in what you just highlighted before. Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy having a bounce-back game. Because, look, last week Brock played poorly. Chiefs' defense is one of the 3 hardest groups to play in the NFL, and the Cowboys' defense this year has been far from that. So I think in many ways this is a great week for the Niners to kind of get back on track offensively, and then at the same exact time, I'm just not impressed with this Cowboys team. They had a cute win versus Steelers on primetime, but like that to me was not really a type of win that makes me say this is a different Cowboys team. I still think this team's average at best, and quite frankly, they're not ready to play a team like San Francisco and get the better of them.
Damn, so beating your Steelers just doesn't move you. You're not a great team.
My Steelers beat themselves in that day.
Kind of like the Jets when they faced.
What if you just
Steelers.
stopped them on 4th down? Whoa.
What the hell is that?
That came out of nowhere.
The Steelers just played a really sloppy game versus Dallas, and their secondary and defense didn't come to play. I don't know. They didn't want to play that day.
Same reason for the Jets lost this.
No,
past
but the
week.
Jets did that for an
Jets
entire
just beat
month.
themselves.
The
Yeah,
Steelers,
they really
the
did.
Steelers did that for one Sunday. The Jets have done that for 5 fucking
at least it
weeks.
came down to the last play. You guys got bent over and dominated for an
And
entire
we're also
half.
down. We were down 4 of our outside linebackers in that game.
Pish posh.
Excuses, John.
Jeremiah
Go
Moon.
ahead.
Do you know who Jeremiah Moon is? No. He was our outside linebacker opposite TJ Watt. So
You
they
didn't
threw
even let me
everything
answer
at
the
TJ.
question. I probably would have said yes.
Do you know who he is?
What team drafted
Jeremiah
him?
Moon? Come on. I know what team drafted him.
He doesn't.
Team.
He got drafted to the NFC. One of those teams.
You got up to the NFC.
Who did he get drafted? What team?
75% sure isn't drafted.
The NFC selects Jeremiah.
What team?
Moon.
Did he get undrafted or no?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
He was either that or a 6th round pick by the Ravens.
Well, listen, the
And
Steelers, they play up next. They play Monday Night Football.
He was undrafted out of Florida.
This the last game of
Played
the
with Ravens.
season.
the
The
week.
last game of the slate. Giants versus the Steelers. Is this one of those trap games that you're feeling? I know
It's
the
in
Colts.
Pittsburgh?
It's in Pittsburgh. I know
It
the
is in
Colts, when you
Pittsburgh.
faced the Colts, you kind
I
of
did
indicated on a
forecast
trap game.
A
Yeah.
trap game.
Think
I
this
didn't-
one of
I
those?
didn't forecast Joe Flacco coming in relief in that.
Dexter
matchup.
Lawrence. I mean, that's a hard guy to
Yeah,
go up
because
against.
Zach Frazier, I haven't double checked, but Zach Frazier was out last week at center, and then we're starting Ryan McCollum. And you look at Dexter Lawrence this year, he's 3rd in pressures, 1st in sacks. He's been a game wrecker for any team. And you look at the Steelers' interior, the offensive line, they can give a little bit of help, but as a Steeler fan, I look at this matchup and I say this Giants defense can give us some problems in the trenches in the interior. But what gives me confidence in Pittsburgh is Russell Wilson in dropbacks and specifically play action was so comfortable and so poised, is keeping the offense on schedule that I'm expecting to get George Pickens going. We saw some plays here and there, a Van Jefferson touchdown. We saw a little bit of Calvin Austin
You
in a
are
30-yard
a funny,
game.
funny guy.
Well, okay, I'm finish my.
This is a
my
tough
point.
game, John.
I think the Steelers' offense will look similar to the way it has the last 2 weeks. 30 points, a lot to ask, but I think they'll move the ball effectively. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think TJ Watt is almost gonna not only is he gonna have a day, I could easily see him forcing one turnover on Daniel Jones. Now that you have Alex Highsmith back, second week back into the fold with our secondary plan as well as it has, I think Daniel Jones could have a disaster class.
That's the reason why it's not a tough game.
Daniel Jones is one of the worst primetime quarterbacks in the league. And he's going up against the very best defensive line and a secondary that's playing quite well.
You know what, John?
See if Dante Jackson's going to play. He got banged up last week, but I know one thing. The Steelers defense is going to bounce back after their last primetime showing against the Cowboys at home. Well, the Jets game was also at home too. But the point here is I think we're going to see the Steelers team. What?
Okay. You know what, John? You influenced me. I had the Giants here. I'm switching. Primetime statistic, Daniel Jones. That's way to me. Yeah,
damn it. I needed you all to take somebody else other than... Well, we did choose different on Seattle, so I'm fine with that. I need you also to pick something different.
Everybody's picks are the same this week.
Literally everyone's the same. I have Seattle. He has the Eagles. That's the only...
I got the Eagles.
That was playing the fence.
No, I'm sorry. He has the Bengals. That's it.
So let me ask you something because I've
this guy
observed
hates taking an upset.
How do you think I got to first place?
I know.
I had to take some risk. I had to go against you guys at some point.
No, what risk? You took favorites. You're a favorite merchant.
I want to come in first.
I've
place,
observed some things that once Dehls has had this lead, it's been a lot of mind games. It's been like, okay, Drew's picking this team. Let me pick this team too. I'm not going to go against this grade.
Should I start going first?
I saw the Bengals.
My picks were locked in sleeper. It didn't change.
I said the Bengals were better than the Eagles last week. I'm going with the Eagles this week.
That's what blew mine. I literally come into the car and the first thing I say, are you picking the Bengals or the Eagles?
Couldn't go against Jalen Hurts, man.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers though. I think they're the Giants offense. You can trust them, and Andrew Thomas is out, so
no.
How are they going to handle?
This was just
the pass rush?
Listen. We said to open the show. This is a kind of not easy slate, but there's just a lot of mismatches. There's a lot of games that should go one way.
I was going to do it.
They probably won't, but
there's a chance.
Seattle.
I thought about
Giants are not doing it. Giants are going to get embarrassed. Actually,
Steelers should win this game.
Zach Frazier is out with an ankle injury, so I think that is the one place the Giants can go as a lot.
Be the Giants, man. Come on.
I mean, if Russell Wilson plays terrible, which he can.
I mean, you would anticipate that he played terrible against the Jets too, right, buddy?
He
played average against the Jets.
And you guys lost 37-15.
And like you guys,
the Giants have leadership.
Conditional first round.
They have Brian Dable. So they have a tone setter.
Daniel Jones is a leader on offense.
Yo, this is where we're getting to.
He's not wrong. Brian Dable is clear, so I can.
Hey, listen, the Giants found ways to do it. They beat the Seahawks on the road.
Jackson's playing too.
They found ways sometimes.
That's when they had Andrew Thomas.
They get ugly.
Without Andrew Thomas, this isn't.
We saw without Andrew Thomas last year just how miserable that Giants offense was. They've added some offensive linemen since then, but Andrew Thomas is the best player.
Bryce Huff got a sack finally. You know what I mean? We saw last week.
OD.
He got it on Jermaine.
How many sacks
all
did
of
they
them.
have?
No, the offensive line's not good.
Illuminor has been really good too, but I mean, after losing Andrew Thomas, what are we doing?
So to recap these picks, NFL Pick'em Week 8 predictions: Vikings versus Rams, Thursday Night Football.
Give me the Vikings. The Rams. Let me see how they look when they get healthy. But Vikings coming off a tough one. Give me them.
Cooper Kupp blessed my fantasy team against Drew this week, but Vikings win.
This is an easy matchup for me. I've got a lot more faith in this Minnesota Vikings team.
This is a potential trap game because this is for the Rams season. If they lose this game, I think they're going to become sellers. But the Vikings are playing too well for me to pick against them. I'm going with the Vikings. Eagles versus Bengals.
Give me the Eagles.
Going with Jalen Hurts, man. Joe Burrow's a fraud.
You're a fake. I can't stand you. You're a fake Bengals fan because I'm the only one on the panel taking Cincinnati.
Ooh.
But I'm going to be taking Joe Burrow and this Bengals passing game. I think they're going to have a great day, and it's going to overcome whatever the Eagles can produce with their
Now, shout out to a Steeler fan supporting the Bengals.
It's rare.
I'm not supporting the Bengals.
No, we heard the support.
Nah, fuck that.
Number 1, wins are not a quarterback stat. Number 2, the Eagles have an advantage in the trenches. Their offensive line's better. The defensive line's better. How are the Bengals going to keep up with that? Are the Bengals going to be able to stop the run? They're one of the worst run defenses in football. This has more to do with the Bengals team, not Joe Burrow.
So you admit Burrow got carried to the Super Bowl and Mahomes got carried to Super Bowl ring last year?
No, Burrow just galvanized that group.
They got help from their team in a team game. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
Ravens.
So you always have an answer.
I got the Eagles. Ravens versus the Browns.
Oh, give me the Ravens. What are we doing?
MVP tour continues.
This is the real lock of the week. It's obviously the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens. Titans versus Lions.
Lock of the week. Detroit, stand up.
Lions win this game.
I'm also going to Detroit.
I'm going with the Lions. Colts versus Texans.
Texans have to bounce back. Give me Houston.
Yeah, CJ Stroud. Need more than 100 passing yards this week, brother.
And he's going to easily get it. I think this Colts team can do some things on the offense side of the ball, but with Anthony Richardson playing the way he is, I've got to go with Houston.
First matchup was close in week 1. We don't know what version of Anthony Richardson we're going to get week to week. I have more faith in what the Texans offer consistently. I'm going with the Texans. Packers versus Jaguars.
Give me the Pack. Jaguars stink.
Yeah, Packers should win this game comfortably.
This game's got a blowout potential. I've got Green Bay.
Hot take, Jordan Love. 0 interceptions this game.
That is a hot
Packers win. That's what we're going with. Cardinals versus Dolphins.
The tribal chief is back, and I acknowledge.
Dolphins should win this game comfortably. Tua is back.
The Cardinals still have a lot to figure out offensively, but I know one thing. When Tua's in the mix, this Dolphins offense is going to be one of the best in football. Give me Miami.
Dolphins at home. Energy boost. Tua's back. I got them.
Tua or Russell Wilson?
You're a funny guy, Dehls.
Well, all time is
I'm
pretty
repping
simple
my
answer.
quarterback. I'm repping a Super Bowl MVP. Super Bowl champ. Excuse me. Not MVP. I'm ruined. I'm ruined.
God is telling you to shut the hell up.
He is, low-key. I am going with my quarterback, and that's a Super Bowl champion. Not a Super Bowl MVP.
What about Justin
That was
Fields?
bad. Justin Fields or Tua?
Oh my God, hurry up and answer. I'm getting upset. Hurry, just say Justin Fields and move on. Go ahead. Fuck.
Justin Fields.
Casual.
Here you go.
Next game, Jets versus Patriots.
If the fucking Jets lose, I will never stop talking.
You mean what, John?
The
You mean
Patriots
what?
had the better quarterback in this matchup.
God.
So pick
and
them.
a defense that
Pick them, John. Pick
a
them.
defense
Pick
that
them.
can make things
I'll
interesting.
be
Pick
hyped.
them. Pick them.
Fuck it. I'm taking the New England Patriots to upset the New York Jets.
Good.
And this
Stupidest
is
pick
gonna
of the week. The Jets are locked.
this is gonna be them fucking putting you guys 6 feet under. 'Cause they've got Drake May.
John, if you lose this, Drew is gonna pass you up in the standings.
Well,
I'm fine with it.
he's
Are you gonna
have more games right than
John,
else.
are you going to really take a chance on the Patriots?
It's the Jets.
Drake May.
It's the Jets.
He's
It's
saying
the
that.
Jets.
And
Drake May's
he's
been
not picking the
unprecedented.
Patriots. He's saying that.
I'm a jinx, and we've been here.
I think it's gonna be a good game.
I agree. Things. Listen,
can go
the
1-2
fucking Patriots have a chance to win this.
All right, I'm not gonna be mad if you do it because I'm catching up to you, so I'm good.
You got
Jets
a lot
are-
of ground to make up.
Jets are winning this.
You got a lot of ground to make
Hey,
up.
no,
last
listen,
week.
you're picking some pretty
My
bad
pick,
picks here.
New England.
He cooked last week. John had tied most.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Shit.
Tied most with who? Your boy.
Oh, shit. I thought you were
I
on
actually
most.
didn't know. I thought it was one of you two.
You just know it's I'm just that dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Falcons versus Buccaneers.
Buccaneers are too banged up. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons, Kirky-O.
I wish the Bucs are their top 2 options in this game in the passing attack, but I'm gonna have to also roll with the Falcons too. I think they're gonna get back on track.
I got the Falcons on the road. Buccaneers 2 injured on offense. Saints versus Chargers.
Give me the Chargers. Saints are also injured to oblivion.
Yeah, it should be a big J.K. Dobbins game for them.
Are you ready, John?
J.K. Dobbins. So we're talking about the Chargers game. I'm also going with the Chargers. I lost my track there. I'm going with Los Angeles in this matchup. I think their
TikTok
defense
kids,
will
man.
win 10 points.
I'm going with the Chargers as
I was
well.
thinking of timestamps. That's why. So in my defense,
Whatever, Mr. Responsible.
Bills versus Seahawks.
Upset of the week. Give me Seattle in this one. I think Ken Walker is going to be the best player on the field.
Yeah, I think the Bills win this game. Mark Cooper, week 2, gets more involved. Big win on the road for Buffalo.
I'm also going Buffalo here. I trust Josh Allen. I think Amari Cooper and Khalil Shakir can both have big games, and this is a game that I'm really comfortable with Buffalo.
This has a lot of upset potential. Seattle is at home. Last time they played at home, they lost to the 49ers and they lost to the Giants. So the home field advantage hasn't been so automatic for them. I am just very worried about the offensive line. If the Bills can stop the run game at least a little bit, Geno Smith already has the most dropbacks in the NFL. Now you are just straight dropping back and allowing these Bills pass rushers to tee off on you. And with no DK Metcalf, it's going to be harder to pass the ball. I have the Bills in this game. Panthers versus Broncos.
Give me my Broncos. Are you kidding me? Let's ride.
Broncos, lock of the week.
Denver, pray for Bryce Young. I feel bad.
Yeah, Bryce Young just got put into a terrible situation, right? First game back, you're playing the Broncos defense.
Hey, for Bryce Young, I feel bad.
I got the Broncos. Chiefs versus Raiders.
Every week, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, Mahomes keeps getting carried, but everyone else is doing it, so give me the Chiefs.
This Chiefs defense, a force to be reckoned with. I can't go up against it. Chiefs starting 7-0.
I got the Chiefs as well. Bears versus Commanders. No Jaden Daniels in this game potentially.
Give me Chicago.
Yeah, even if Jaden was playing, I think I'd still take Chicago.
If Jaden was playing, I would go with the Commanders, but because I'm expecting not to play, I'm going to have to lean Chicago.
Marcus Mariota had similar stats against the Panthers.
Joel, they're literally giving up 36 points a game.
Right. Pick the Commanders.
No, I'm just telling him, respect Mariota. Respect Cliff Kingsbury play calling.
It's a historically bad defense through 7
Bro,
weeks.
pick the Commanders.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to listen to what you're saying and pick the Bears. I'm still going with the Bears.
You're soft.
Their defense is too elite. Right now, the passing defense is amazing. And I think they'll be able to they'll be able to stop the Commanders at least somewhat. And this is also still one of the worst defenses in the NFL. You know, the Commanders have not faced offenses that have been able to capitalize on it. But I think the Bears win. Cowboys versus the 49ers.
Oh, give me the 49ers. Come on.
You can't trust the Cowboys in a big spot against the Niners.
Cowboys haven't beat San Fran since 2020, and that is not changing this week.
I have the 49ers winning this one. Jordan Mason, big-time game. And Monday Night Football, Giants versus the Steelers.
The Steelers are going to absolutely destroy Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I could see 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Daniel Jones is not built for prime time. He's also not built to go up against the Steelers defense. I worry about Dexter Lawrence having a big day without Zach Frazier, but the Steelers defense is going to dominate.
Would be a shame if the Steelers somehow lost this game, but I'm going to Steelers.
Would
I
still
got
be
the Steelers.
A lot of games over 500.
Commanders defense, I still don't know. I'm not sure
Don't know about what? That they're
if they're mid or
bad?
not. I don't know.
No, I think they're bad.
I think Dan Quinn's
I think they're better than last year.
by far.
That's
Definitely
still
not.
not saying a lot.
Listen, the Panthers' offense, we're not going to act like it was nothing. You know what I mean? They shut them down.
And also, thinking about the grand scheme of things and what the Ravens have been able to do, holding them to 30 is a W.
I got the Steelers in this one. And that's going to do it for our Week 8 NFL predictions. You can follow us on Twitter at PickAsidePod, on Instagram and TikTok at PickAsidePodcast. Thank you
Hey,
guys
tell
for
Kay
watching.
Adams about us. I don't know what she wants, but tell her.
Kay
And we'll
Adams.
see you
Love
guys
you, Pookie.
next time.